welcome to episode 9 of The Top Shelf. I am your host, Mads, and my glorious player cast, which I'm very excited about. Some new, some returning from, I think my hand gestures were opposite there. I think it's some new, some returning. There we go.
Nailed it.
Coming back to play 17th Century Minimalist, which is a delightful little game that I found after finding a game called The Black Hack, which is basically they take 5e and they crunch it down into super simple mechanics, and make it a lot more user-friendly, because 5e can get a little crunchy. And 17th Century Minimalist builds upon that, changes the rules just a little bit more, but puts everything in a historical low fantasy setting of 17th century Europe. So we're gonna go around the table. We'll go ahead and introduce everybody. We'll start. You know what? I'm gonna try not to be super satirically British here because I think it's actually Australia that's backwards from us. So we're gonna start at top left. We're gonna go counterclockwise. Al, go ahead and kick us off, and then we'll go Sarah, and then Ekash, and then Vermin up at the top there.
Hello there, folks. I'm a chirpy British chappie. My name's Sir Walter, and I'm being played today by Al de Biffa. I hope you enjoyed my British adventure. I will hand it over to Sarah.
Hello, I'm Sarah Franco, and I'm going to be playing Mabel Clog this evening. We'll see if I can keep up with Al's just the incredible level he's bringing of professionalism to this stream tonight. Passing it over to Ekash.
Hello, folks. This is Ekash the Orc. I will be playing William Willie McLaurin tonight, and I guess we'll just see how we go, and we'll pass it on over to Vermin.
Hello, I am Legendary Vermin, or Vermin. I am going to be playing Magnolia, or Magnus Tridecayon.
Very good. Yeah, see, I wanted to put everybody makes such good names for the top shelf. I just never have the room to put out the full name or the ability to spell any of them, as we've seen me misspelling people's Twitter handles multiple times. So we'll keep it simple. But yeah, so we are playing in 1888. We are in Europe, England to be precise, and we begin with these four, more or less the untoward of the social populace within. Oh, my music! Click. There we go. The untoward of the social populace of this vast London town, and they have been contracted or asked to meet with an individual who, by sake of politics, has decided to keep his hands out of some business that he would like done, and instead turn it over to you. So you are meeting at the manor of Sir Edmund Andros to discuss some things and see what it might be worth to you. We're going to begin at the arrival of you four at his estate. You are let in by the butler, or the manservant, whatever you would like to call him, as he opens the door and beckons you into a parlor space. There is drink prepared as Sir Edmund Andros comes down from the upstairs of his manor and meets you in the space, and he approaches the four of you and he goes, Oop, can I even do a proper British accent? Nope, that's Australian. We're going to do the best I can, folks. Australian's all I know. It's going to slip back there. Pleasure, truly, to meet all of the four of you here. I take it that you're all well acquainted with each other and have plenty of experience working together under your belts. I've had all four of your names brought up by the constable after paying him to not large sum of funds to provide me information on those who might be able to do a task for me that I would rather keep off the record.
Wait. You saying you have our names somewhere?
That is how I invited you here, yes.
Well, I don't remember losing mine.
A joke. Very good.
Magnolia presses a firm hand onto your shoulder. Says, "Not like that, dear."
Oh, right.
Quite. Please, for the sake of yourselves then, if you are unfamiliar with me, feel free to introduce yourselves. As is customary. Since you have your own names and jokes and all.
If we're talking about jokes, I suppose I shall go first. The name's William McLaurin, former court jester, but general gadabout town, you might say.
Court jester. Now, who were you gesturing for? Surely it couldn't have been King James II.
Oh, if only. No, I was one of the dukes, but they get really... they're really touchy about the certain jokes that you might say around them, so that's why I emphasize former court jester.
Right. Well, some of the dukes may not share my sense of humor. Please, regale me, jester. Tell me a joke.
Well, boy, I'm put right on the spot, aren't I?
You can just say anything and he'll think it's a joke.
Okay. Well, there was a story about a man. Let's see. I guess I'm a little bit rusty, you might say.
I now see why you are a former jester. Let's move along the line, please. Who's next?
So Magnolia doesn't say much, inclines her head, and she's wearing like a full plague doctor getup, like the wax coat, the hat, the long crow mask with the herbs in the end, and introduces herself with nothing more than Magnus Tridecagon, and I am very pleased to make your acquaintance. She looms over the rest of the group.
Pleasure. I am always good to have an individual of the apothecary arts around. What about you, who seemed so keen to joke here at the beginning?
I'm not sure what you mean. I'm just saying words, really. Whatever came into my head.
Well, please, introduce yourself. Tell me a little bit about you.
Right, well, I'm Mabel Cog. Sell sword. You got someone needs killing. I've got needs for killing. That's not going to work now, is it? Right.
There is a little bit of concern on his face as he realizes that you're the person who does the killing in the group. And he kind of squints a little bit, and he's like, we're actually going to get to that here in a moment. Please do pay attention.
Oh, right. Well, I can just get my sword now.
No,
if that's convenient.
It's okay, truly. Please keep it sheathed, actually.
Wait, what? I can't. Seems a bit weird. Killing with your sword sheath.
Well, you're not here to kill me, are you?
Those are the terms.
I see. And you, good fellow. Who are you?
Hello there, sir. And he does like a full bow, like ridiculous, with a flourish. Hello there, sir. What an absolute honour it is to meet you. I can't believe I'm finally meeting the great Sir Edmund What's-his-nits from on them stories, what I've been told as a young lad, and when they got me in here with all these letters and all these jobs, what I had to be doing and that, sir. Oh, I couldn't wait. He said, Sir Walter, he said, you want to get down there? He said, I said, no way, sir. I didn't think it was possible. And he said, oh, I come down from Birmingham to London town, and hopefully you'll find yourself a fortune, lad.
And a fortune indeed you will find. And you'll notice that he is actually very interested in the fact that whether or not you're telling the truth, the thought of you knowing who he is definitely strikes his fancy as a more prideful individual. And he looks at the four of you and he goes, well, understanding who I've been recommended for service, I will be explicitly clear in what I am looking for. New England, across in the Americas, is looking for a new governor. I would like to be that governor. Currently, there are only 2 other individuals who are standing in my way of getting the king's recommendation on this particular task. And one of them has just been dealt with. The other one is a little bit more difficult to parse out. I need you 4 to adjust this individual's ledgers. Sneak into his home, his manor. He does all of his bookkeeping personally. And make sure that it seems that his interests are not best to the king's wishes. Something that, could it be used improperly, would very clearly relegate him as a traitor to our cause across the pond.
I think you might need to repeat that in simpler language. And looks over at Mabel.
What's this about, pond?
You are to travel to the mansion of Clarence Miller III.
Right.
He is the only other person who might take my governorship from me. I need you 4 to make sure it does not happen. However, nobody in this journey is to die, or be harmed, or see you.
Oh, now, hold up now. Just, hey, whoa, no, all right, now just 1 minute.
Yes.
What do you mean?
I mean, no one is to die, or to be harmed, or to see you. This must be covert. I do not care that you are all inostensibly rabble anyway, and will not be tied back to me should anything happen. But if it does, that is something that I cannot allow. So you will do this quietly, and you will be paid a small fortune to do so.
All right.
If I may interject, does contracting plague count as a harm? And like a decided squeak comes from her herbalist's bag over in the corner.
He takes a deliberate, cautious 2 steps away from that squeak direction while he continues, and he goes, "No, but again, it cannot be traced back to the events of whatever forgeries you are about to put in place. If somebody does get hurt, if that is something that has to happen as conflict is unavoidable, you would wary caution to make it make sense in context to what they were doing." And he looks at you, Mabel, who is still just kind of confused. Who looks just very confused. He's just like,
It's. I feel like you didn't even see my business card. And she'll pull out like this ratty piece of like, it's clearly parchment, and it was written by someone else, and just really scrawly handwriting that it just says, "Need something killed." Mabel. Like, that's it. That's all on this paper. And she holds it up. It's my bet. Right. That's what I'm good for.
He's going to sidestep around Magnolia to get really close to you. And he's going to take the piece of paper. And with about as much patience as a man who is out of patience has, he leans towards you and he goes, "Apart from the fact that I genuinely was not sure if you could read, which is a good sign."
I can't hide somebody to write that.
Right, and he's just
I've no fucking idea what that said.
Drop the paper.
Hey, that's my only copy.
If somebody has to die, make it look
Right.
like an accident, or make sure they disappear entirely. Am I clear?
Well, not really. I can't really see through you, but yeah,
You
I think I get the
three.
gist.
Are you able to help her out on the way, please? God.
I believe I've got the gist. A little cloak and dagger, hold the dagger. Am I right?
Spectacular. One of you understands 1 out of 4 sounds good.
By golly gosh, sir, we'll be jolly careful with all our pip-pips and tally-hos. We'll have them chaps carved up in like one of them savoury pies, what we all love so much over here, tally-ho, pip-pip.
I heard that in a play once.
Spectacular. So you're all on board And you, Sir Walter.
Oh, yes, sir.
You're aware of my reputation and my time in the military prior to this.
Oh, yes, sir.
You know, or could at least assume, the trouble that I could cause all four of you should this fail.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir, indeed. They explained it to me jolly well. I said, oh, well, you tell me what would happen if I do double-cross him. And they said, oh, I haven't got the patience to tell you, sir. They didn't have the patience to tell me. They had the patience to tell me. They had the patience to tell
Sir
me that.
Walter.
Oh,
I
right you are, sir.
Good. You're all fine for the job. There are horses out back. You may eat before you go, but please.
Oh, I can. Where's the food?
I want some English muffins, what we all love.
They
And
taste
jam.
like shit.
I take it.
Of course, got to have jam on your muffins.
Mabel will eye William and be like, is it enough for all of us? Because I definitely will need his share and my share for safekeeping.
I think I can handle my own food.
He snaps and brings one of his the folks of his house, and he looks at him. Would you please go fetch them some food? Leave it out by the horses. I really don't care to speak to them further. Look, you four, go get settled up. Get ready. There's a map in the pack if you're unfamiliar with Clarence Miller's homestead. It's about a day's ride from here.
Yeah, right. Great. And Mabel's just going to wait for the plates to come into the room and start taking food off of all of them as they go by.
No, Mabel. He said he was going to put the food and make it horses. We're having French cuisine tonight.
Oh, I hate that stuff.
William.
Eating bugs.
Magnolia spreads her arms very wide, ushering everybody out.
Don't worry, coq au vin ain't what you think it is, it turns out.
Yeah, I think you're fucking full of shit.
No, that's the other dish.
William, before you
Yes.
all leave, I take
Yes, my
it
lord.
manners and politeness will get you far. Take
Thank
this.
Mhm.
If you... And he reaches into his coat and pulls out a bundle of papers. You are free to read them if you'd like, manipulate things if you must, but these are, at least in part, my directives towards this particular written coercion of his ledgers. Keep these, provide them or place them within the ledgers, or rewrite the ledgers as to what is dedicated in here. Share this with the group if you feel like they understand, but
Okay. Well, you do have the details as to exactly what kind of degree of criminal activity you'd prefer, because it differs between what the aristocracy consider offensive and what is not. As it turns out, making kind of a duke's flatulence is quite disturbing to them. So I'm just trying to get an idea of what we're looking for.
treason.
Treason. Okay,
As you
yes.
hopefully are aware, the great country of England is at war currently with France, as it has just begun in the Americas over land rights.
Mm.
I want to make sure that it looks like he's been shipping and providing them weapons, as opposed to ourselves.
The old French handoff.
Yes,
Very
playing
good.
both sides.
All right. Well, I think we can. I think we can whip something up. You shan't regret this.
Perfect. Now, out you go. And he turns and just kind of leaves. No pomp or circumstance to it. He's just gone.
I kind of bow and then back out of the room, bowing.
All right.
Whew.
So, you are heading to the stables on his manor. There are 4 horses prepared and available for you. There is also what is remaining of the food after Mabel has just kind of sniped it as it passed by. having
I heard a
placed
fancy
and
word
plated
out in the
down.
field. I commandeered it, see, because I have greater need, right? Yeah. Big word.
Sure. Well, I suppose I need to get a read up of this. It seems we've got the instructions handed off to us, so I suppose we can go over what the plan is.
There is nobody else around, so please do.
All right. Well, let me go ahead and I'll read through it while I try and get whatever's left of the food.
Okay. So reading through them is, I mean, it's pretty much what he had, what he
Kinda gone over.
explained. Yeah, there is, there are sample letters of Clarence within, so you can actually see his signature and the way that he writes should you choose to forge anything yourselves. These are segregated from everything else so that obviously they don't end up in the ledgers, but there is also documentation and specific addresses and locations and shipping records for basically the idea that he has been, because what Clarence has been doing is shipping weapons across the sea for the sake of the war effort and various things, just as it's starting to ramp up. But they are doctored in a way that looks like he's been skimming off the top and paying higher prices towards the French.
Okay. All right. Well, it seems, yep, I believe we know what we need to put in the documents. It's just a matter of getting to the files and adding them to it. Anybody got a hand in forgery or anything of the like?
I tried forging once, hated it.
No, sorry, I ain't never worked as a blacksmith.
Right, it's too smelly.
Okay. How about you, my feathery friend? And I look to Maggie.
They quirk their head in that like very long way. I can make an attempt at forging the documents. It might also be worth our while to speak with members of staff on the estate. Get some sort of map, perhaps.
Suppose we can maybe charm, pass a coin, and charm one or two, possibly, to get a little bit more intel. But that will be something we'll have to find once we get to the grounds, I suppose.
Indeed.
All right. Well, if everyone's had their fill, I say there's no time like the present to kick off. What say you all?
Kick off what exactly? You mean go to this manor and not kill anybody?
Ideally.
Doing your best, anyway.
Yeah, Magnolia, you know I ain't good at this. I got my one skill. That's it.
I know.
Walter, what about yourself? I know a little bit of you. You were part of the King's Guard way back when.
Yes, sir, that's right. I was part of the King's Guard, and I am guarding the King. Sometimes I guarded the King, and then other times I didn't guard the King. It was a very interesting line of duty, which I will now take the next 40 to 45 minutes to tell you all about. First thing I would do in the morning is I would get up and I would put on my hat, and I would...
I start unfolding the map. So I think we should chart our course. That's exactly how we're going to get there.
It is a pretty straight shot. If you take so there are roads that will get you there. They're smaller roads if you're traveling by that way. You can get there faster if you choose to go through the wood, across the moor. But that's up to you guys. There's really two paths. One's going to wind around a little bit, but is a little bit more open. One will get you there quicker. That's totally your guys' discretion.
So we can either go in the wide open or in the swampy. Perfect. Personally, I'd rather just straight shot there and avoid any undue dampness, if possible.
I fully understand your concern, sir, but you've got to remember, this is dear old Blighty. This is merry old England, and if we take the straightest, truest path, we have to answer the riddles from the dragons that live there. So I understand, but it may be best that we curve around the other path and then just try and get through the massive jellied eels.
Dealt with dragons there, Walter.
Well, but this is England, sir. All the tales from yesteryear are all of dragons and that.
Yes.
They got to live somewhere.
Okay.
You sure you're not from the continent?
Oh, I'm from the continent of Britain, sir. The greatest one in all the world.
Plague Doctor with 1,000-yard stare.
Yeah, I can't tell you how pleased I am about all of this.
Okay. Well, something tells me we might get lucky on this journey and we might just bypass the dragon. Considering the time
Well,
of the
that
season,
really would be another bit of fortune for us, sir. I don't want
And
to use up all my luck at
hold on.
once.
Sir said nothing about no fucking dragon. And if I can't kill a dragon, then what's the fucking point?
well, the good thing is
He
we
said
won't
don't
have
be
to deal
seen
with-
by no people, not by no dragons. He didn't specifically state you kill as many dragons as you want.
I
Blimey.
can guarantee you, should we come across a dragon, I will let you run straight in.
Magnolia has
Great ahead it
has
is,
grabbed
sir.
the
You
tack
have
of her
yourself
horse.
a bargain.
Magnolia has grabbed the tack of her horse and mounted and is slowly riding away.
Magnolia, before they took the food, did they by chance leave any wine?
Yeah, they did. I got it right here. Holds up like this flask that you didn't see her pour all the wine in, but somehow she has managed to. And she will toss it over happily.
Cheers. Just deep drink.
All right. So, mechanically, which direction are you traveling? The road or straight shot through the moor?
I believe just
Straight
the
shot through the
road.
moor?
Through the
Oh.
Down the
I,
road.
I misunderstood.
We had.
What about Mabel and Walter?
Right, we never split the crew.
Right. Well, it's voting. It's a thing that they do across the sea,
Why they do that?
just to get everyone's opinion.
Oh, you do
I want-
that, so you'll end up like France. It didn't end too well for the king over there, did it?
I don't want to give two shits about someone else's opinion. I say we just go straight there.
Well, I won't. How about I just get your opinion?
My opinion.
Yes.
My opinion.
One moment.
She leans in. You asking which way we want to go, right?
Right.
Well, if it's just me, go straight there.
Swamp.
Yeah.
Swamp. Direct route to the swamp. Okay.
Swamp.
Very good. Okay.
All right.
Well,
Decisions.
I think we've. Yeah, I take the map and I've crossed off the path that I had originally circled for the wide open. I suppose we're going to the swamp.
Right. It's a bit of muck. It'll help covert. It's another word I learned.
Ah.
So, on to the swamp you go. As we do this, I'm going to diverge and advise you as well as the audience 2 notes. One, this is close enough to D&D in the way that the rolls are that you can use all of the adventure point stuff that we have up to advantage and disadvantage and rerolls and things. +2s are bad, -2s are good. This is a roll under system, as well as to the party. This is a system that if you're going to get in combat, you are best to have a plan, because this does not matter what level you are in real world England. If somebody stabs you, you'll probably die. So pay that
Not
in
if I
mind.
stab him first.
It does sound like London.
That's right. But with that in mind, you all begin heading through the moor on deeper into the wilderness, and as you do, it begins to get swampier and a little bit dingier. And, I mean, the cloud cover's generally shitty anyway, so that's pretty much the same. But the grounding gets harder. Your horse is slow. And I will need... let's call this a group dexterity check. Checks here. You take your stat, you roll the d20. If it gets equal or under, you pass.
Mine's 7, so
I got a lovely +2.
a 3. Thank God.
Very nice.
I rolled a 5.
2. Ho ho.
That's a 19.
Nice.
Hey.
Okay. I called it a group check, so you're lucky, because that's still 3 out of 4. But you guys continue to pass through, and it takes some time, but you can kind of maintain control of your horses as they become a little bit more skittish in these deeper, muddier portions of the moor.
William is just disgusted with the swampiness, and He's just kind of cringing at everything.
For
I do.
good reason.
I could definitely use a little less more, if you understand my meaning.
Every time we pass by like a tree or something low hanging, Magnolia is just like scraping things.
Oh yeah,
putting them into her herbalist kit.
You're probably having a great time.
I've never looked more at home.
And the only person who is probably not disturbed greatly by the level of bugs existing in the stagnation of the mud water. As you proceed...
We must be somewhere near Wales, sir. This place is literally disgusting as far as the eye can see.
Now, whales live in the ocean.
Yeah, I wish it would sink into the ocean. You're not wrong, but needs must.
Why?
There are incredible advances happening in the application of peat moss and other bog fauna and flora. I
don't know how.
I can't abide this kind of
amazing,
cruel,
because most of the Welsh
assessment.
scientists I'm aware of are busy trying to do their incubating inside the wildlife. So that's jolly strange, isn't it? But there we go.
Wait, Magnolia, are we sinking into the ocean right now?
No, my dear. It's just there's a lot of water in the. We're sinking into the ocean.
Yes, so we must hurry.
Right.
Speaking of wildlife, as you are contemplating sinking into the ocean, Sir Walter, there appears to be up ahead and to your right in a...
dragon.
God damn it. There's going to have to be one somewhere now. So, somewhere in the right side of the trees, you can see as they get a little bit more dense off in that direction, there are a number of moving shapes, quick, of some reasonable size, kind of darting through that portion of the wood, appearing to be following you. What are you guys doing? Or I guess, what are you doing? You're the first person to notice.
Stop everyone at once and be like, hold up, chappies. We seem to be being tailed by some mighty fine tail. Someone is sneaking, and sneaking comes with peeping, and peeping involves getting spotted, and that was rule number 2 or 3.
Right, we're
don't
sneaking.
get peeped. Eh?
Oh, right.
Yeah. Look, over there on the right-hand side, whichever way right is, then you'll see the shapes in the forest, and where there shouldn't be shapes in forest. And we, equally to them, are shapes in their forest, presumably, and they are presuming that we should not be shapes in their forest. And so all these shapes in all this forest should not be seeing other shapes in this here forest, as opposed to shapes in other forests, which is probably where they should be, so they ain't seeing the shapes what's in this forest.
Which is about enough time for you to notice that the shapes in this forest is an approaching pack of wolves. About 4 or 5 strong. Fairly good sized. You wouldn't imagine they're eating a lot out here, but they look like they have been.
I got this. It's fine. And
Bugger.
Mabel's going to reach into her pack, pull out some of the food that she had squirreled away, promptly pour it on the ground, and say, "Right, we should be going," and start slogging away.
I didn't know there was any leftovers. That's okay.
I would like you to roll for luck for me, Mabel.
All right. That's a 7. So is my stat. I rolled another 3.
This is the first time any of you who are familiar with large, hungry wolves have ever seen large, hungry wolves enjoy English muffins and jam.
I never get cake out here. It's
Feast
too
of
far.
Kings.
But it was enough of a distraction that as you guys rode off, giving them some wide berth, perhaps they didn't eat it, but they were curious enough to congregate around it and give it a good long sniff, allowing you to avoid their vicinity.
I'm right alongside Mabel as we get out. Like, is there anything left, by the way? Any more of the biscuits or jams or cakes or No.
I got jerky that I got from 3 jobs ago, if you want that.
You've got cured meat that the probably would have been something the wolves would have actually eaten.
Cured of what, you say?
All right. Mabel, I'm afraid that your wine canteen has been emptied, and I just kind of ride ahead.
Okay, so you guys begin to ride, and I'm going to give you this option because timing-wise, this is the quicker path. Both of the checks that you needed to really keep this at pace were successful for their intents, and you could feasibly get there in the middle of the night. I know you wanted to have conversation with staff or scope the place out. Would you rather camp before you get to the grounds and have a day around the space?
Like scouting out would be a good idea.
That's up to you guys, but that's your timetable right now.
How late? Like, are people still at the local pub?
We would be talking late. And if you're looking at the map, this manor is its own small
Villa.
kind of, yeah. So there isn't a pub nearby. There isn't a town nearby. The one you rode from is going to be the closest. All of the servants of the property are going to be living on the property in their own small domiciles outside of the, I guess, growing grounds and like animal grounds and things. So it's just the manor, and it's all surrounding estate.
So just the manor and the crew.
Yep. Precisely.
Okay. Well, we could camp out and take a look and get a feel for the land and size up the location itself from the outside.
Oh, it's a good idea, I think. If we can have a little peep with our peepers through the fence or something. Hopefully we can see if there's any candles lit on one of the rooms. Maybe he's up late working in his study and we'll know where all the paperwork is. That, or he might be sleeping in his little beddy boys, all tucked away from the buggy bed bug bastards, and then we can see where he's sleeping at, and then maybe sneak in there and do a dirty in his bed or something. That'll get him all riled up. I don't know. I wasn't listening at the start.
That sounds like one of them nursery rhymes. You ain't making a lick of sense. Didn't fancy Mr. Wassett tell us how many people at the mansion?
Would that have been in the notes?
No.
Okay.
So he's never been there.
No.
The notes themselves that you were provided have no information on the manor. He does not care to have ever visited.
So I have like a quantity of money. I have like 16 silver. Can I like get rid of some of that in order to have some like opera glasses to kind of like spy from a distance?
Yeah, give me we'll call that 4d4. Give me a roll for it. Tell me how
44.
much against your silver. See how much that those glasses were worth to you.
6 and 7.
7 silver.
7 against my 16.
Very good. 9 silver left.
Okay.
Hey, Nolly, them grandmas saying
Yes.
what's it?
Yeah, they're grandmothers. Would you like to look?
It's fine. It always makes my head dizzy.
So I'm gonna like look down the length of the opera glasses and kind of like go ride a slow circle around with anybody who's interested in kind of checking it out.
Okay. So
and like Ekash said, we're looking for like maybe there's an office, maybe there's like an entrance. Where do the guards seem to be staying?
got it. Okay. So the decision has then been made that you are going to ride into the night, get to the manor, scope out what you can in the dark.
Yes.
Okay, sounds good. So, you begin taking a slow ride around. So Magnolia and anybody who is going with you, I would like you to make stealth checks. With dexterity, sorry.
I'll go along.
I'm gonna stay here, make sure those wolves don't try to eat our horses.
I'll stay back and do some more thinking with my big brain.
My best roll was an 11.
I got a 4.
So failure.
Failure, and Ekash, I take 4 was probably a success.
Yes, dexterity is 11.
Very good. So, with Magnolia leading the way, you guys begin scoping around the outside of this manor. It is several acres worth of land. It looks like this particular individual has a lot of livestock, and most of the what you notice is as you round the manor's in the front of it. All of the yard basically is in the back portion. If you're looking at it from the road's perspective, the road leads right up to the house. You got the big manor, 2 wings on either side, 2 stories, and then behind it you have large yard. Feasibly in the dark, you could probably make out what could be like a sitting space or a gazebo area. Beyond that, you get the garden fields and then the livestock pens, along with a stable area. And most of this you can just hear because it is all dark down out there. And then rounding around, back by the livestock area, there are 2 small homesteads or kind of domiciles within the fencing of the estate that would be probably servants' quarters. One of those, as you round by, lights are on, still lit, but much to your chagrin, you see that still lit, somebody recognizes that there is someone out there enough that blinds shut closed, the light goes out, and you can hear the door of the domicile open and shut in the dark.
Can I... So do we notice that though, right?
You would have seen and heard all of that, yes.
Okay. I'm going to try one of my bag of tricks.
Okay.
Ventriloquism.
Okay.
It allows me to mimic the voice of any encountered NPC, adversary, or animal.
Okay.
And I just want to like make a sound of like a wolf passing by.
Okay. All right. Go ahead and give me a charisma roll for that.
All right, which is my roll plus the level of the trick, which is 1. So I got to add 1 to it.
Okay.
I rolled a 14, which brings it to 15, but my charisma is 16.
Nice. Very good. All right. So you hear the door shut, and you can hear kind of the padding of somebody heading towards the manor as you start making it out like you are wolves on the edge of the property. And as you guys continue forward, you eventually hear the same sound of the same door, kind of rickety, a little creaky, reopen and close. Presumably, whoever caught on knew that sounded like a wolf and would rather not be outside in the middle of the dark if they misread the situation. So they did not make it to the estate if that was their intent, and have returned to their space.
So I just kind of like, I'll pat Maggie on the back, like,
I put my finger up to the end of the beak. Well done. I'll try to keep the horse quieter in the future.
In the dark, you notice no other significant, I guess, things about the home. No, there's no additional lights on or anything that would key you in at this late at night. There is an entryway into the house. Well, there are 2 entryways into the house from the backyard, or from the back portion of the manor. There's kind of the big double doors of kind of the main area, and then there is a single door on the right side of the back of the house that presumably would be your servants' quarters, or your servants' entrance. to get into the space, and then you have your front doors, obviously. There are windows on both floors, all fairly large. You're not sure if they are openable, but they're all paned, so...
Are we able to peek in by chance, or are they too far up?
Do you want to get that close?
Probably not on horseback.
Yeah, that's probably a good call.
Yeah.
I have the ill-placed confidence of a large person wearing all black in the middle of the night, though. So
Okay. So, getting
I
off...
think probably what I would do is I would get off my horse,
Okay.
and I would, just casually stroll up and see if that servant's door is locked, and then see if I could peek in any of the windows.
Okay. Give me give me an intelligence check to interpret your findings. I'm not gonna make you roll for the locked door, but I want you to roll to see if you get the answer I provide.
12 under 13, so yeah.
Okay, so you check the door. The door is locked. There is also no external lock to it. So presumably this door is unlocked in the morning before breakfast, so people can come in and do their stuff, but they are otherwise shut out.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, and I was going to say, if you're checking in the first floor windows, to answer your question, William, neither of you would really be able to get to second floor windows, but if you're checking the first floor windows, most of them are all shuttered at night, though you can see through one of them on the side of the house between the shutters a little bit, a very large dining room.
Okay.
Big, long, very nice table, well-maintained, even in the dark. Mostly you can see through the little glints of light that there's just kind of the crystal cabinets and things of china on the back wall that's kind of reflecting, but...
Any other windows that we can see, or are they just kind of like around the house? You have to do further.
Yeah, I mean everything is kind of around the house. I'm gonna say for the sake of this, like you're really not getting a whole lot from the windows this late at night.
Okay.
Everything is very much kind of systematically shut up at the end of the day, and all blinds closed and things. So.
All right. Well, I'll kind of like motion to Mabel, like maybe we should head back.
Yeah.
Or not Mabel. I'm sorry, Maggie.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys return with your findings back to the group for some planning and/or 3-day-old jerky.
I say it's 3 days to 3 jobs.
Oh God.
Well, that's what they always say. England is famed for its jerky. Across the world, our most famous dish.
It's not. It's probably all right. You probably couldn't stomach it.
Oh, that sounds like a duel.
A jerky duel, the deadliest of them all.
The best kind, if you ask me, sir. Rashers at dawn.
Magnolia, overhearing this conversation, has opened her herbalist's kit.
Mabel will reach into a pack and pull out something that's kind of wrapped in like a small leather pouch, just grinning from ear to ear at Sir Walter. I remember you. My dad told me stories about you from the old war. I bet you can actually hack it. I meant more like Noli. She's into bugs and plants and stuff. I don't know about this. And she pulls it open, and you can tell it's like this. You're going to have to like hold this in your mouth. That's what she said. For a long time before it's even remotely close to food.
Wow. I'm afraid, all right. We're taking this proper serious. Like, if it's honour that's on the line, then of course I shall need to appoint my second. William, would you do the honours of being my second if I cannot stomach this jerky alone?
What, I should eat it if you can't?
Well, I may have to pass it to you during the process.
That's
I
against
just
the
need to make
rules.
sure I have a reliable second on hand.
No.
It's a great
Your
honour.
man eats your own jerky.
I'm going to say I think it might be easier to eat her leather satchel than it will be that jerky. So,
But we can do that afterwards. I don't mind. Honestly, we're all friends here.
How about I referee?
Oh, all right, that sounds fair enough. All right, off we go then.
Okay.
What are they? Back-to-back 10 nibbles in turn? How are we doing this?
Who all
Usually
is
that's extra.
who all is participating in the? I almost used it purple. I can't believe you wrote that there. I could
the
not bring
jerky off.
myself to. Yep, a jerky off,
Okay.
a circle jerky. So, please. Who all is tasting some of this jerky?
God, no.
Okay. So you got. All right, we got 3 of you.
It's right, no way. This will be just like old times.
Go ahead and have
A
a.
ménage à trois.
Go ahead and all of you
Oh, yeah.
take a
A
piece.
mange à trois.
And as
I am-
you consume this jerky, I want a strength check from each of you.
That's my one redeeming quality.
Oh, bugger.
That's a 7.
Strength.
That's a 4.
Under 11.
Mm.
Did you succeed as well?
You got a
Nice.
crit! No!
You got a crit. Okay,
Got my
You
nat
son of
one.
a bitch!
so you threw down, like you are very familiar with older rations, being an older English war vet. These two still going at it. You're both holding your own, but I'm gonna need another one of those.
Oh.
That's an 8
Oh.
under 13.
That's a 14.
Okay, give
An
me
8 and
Mabel
my
was too
strength is 7.
impressed.
give me a D12 roll, Mabel.
D12, huh?
Oh,
Some
oh
shit's
no.
about to happen to me. That's a 6.
That's a 6. That one actually does not apply here, so I'm going to dial it back by 1. Or I'll make you re-roll. Your choice. I'll either take 5 or let you re-roll. You don't know what 5 is, so that's up to you.
It sounds like I should just take 5, because who knows what the fact's going to happen. So just do 5.
Okay.
I accept. We're going to go full Rory. I accept my fate.
That is a D4 of damage due to vomiting, nausea, and stomach pain.
Oh dear.
Oh, thank God it's only 1.
Okay. Not a nice-
Yeah, so Mabel kind of like, as we're trying to, she sees that Walter's just crushing it. And so she gets a little over vigorous and tries to swallow it, and it gets wedged in her throat a little bit. And she has to go down, just hack, and it's not great. She ends up, because she overate at the mansion, like it's just like that combo effect where it just kind of like a series of misfortunate events. And she ends up retching like a ton. And she turns and looks. Sorry. She'll look at William. I don't want a shovel because those wolves will love that.
Can I offer you a leech in these trying times?
No, I don't think I can have another bite.
William just kind of goes, oh, point Walter.
Well, you know what they say. You can't challenge an Englishman to eat meat.
That is what they say.
That is a phrase that will stand the test of time. Bubbity boop to pip pip to tiddly pomp a Scotch egg.
Hey, Nolly, you got a bit of peppermint in there? Something fresh this up. This tastes awful.
Yeah, there's probably some peppermint in my bag. Something.
Yeah, she takes that and just starts chewing on it.
Okay.
I like the tangle.
All right. So, what's your guys' plan from here? Actually,
I think the most obvious
Oh.
route is
I'm glad you
diplomacy. we will ride up under the guise of being people who are supposed to be there and just talk our way into the mansion.
Just talk our way in. Leave it to us to do the talking here, clearly.
Well, my original
You
plan
have-
was to be door-to-door jerky salesman, but unfortunately, I think we've just tapped out of our supply.
Oh, I got more.
Oh,
That
God.
was 3 jobs ago. You don't want to hear about 7 jobs ago.
Ah,
what things
we
get
were
really
specifically told
desperate.
not to be peeped.
all
We're
that
not
po-
supposed to be seen.
all that potent meat, and the wolves got the biscuits. Very good. Oh,
I've come up with a cunning ruse. All we do is observe the movements of the household during the day, and in the next night we sneak in all sneaky like, and we pretend to be free spirits, one of the past, one of the future, and one of tell us where all the documents are so we can change all the information over.
Wait, free spirits like what?
Like
Is that different from-
ghosties, like you know, one of us can be all chained up and be all like, ooh,
Well, that's not-
and another one can be all like big and hairy and go, ah.
Oh,
It'd be great.
three. I thought you said free, and I got real confused.
oh yes, 1, 2, 3.
Exactly. Free, you know, like the classic British accent, what we all have.
I think this is a
I'm-
plan with a lot of merit. I'm just not sure what William would do.
Not sure either.
Oh,
Frank-
right, because there's four.
Yes.
Hey, there's four
Well,
of
we
us.
have to be the ghosties. We're the distraction plan. We need old, you know, posh handwriting over here to do all the squiggly lines. Dot the I's, cross the T's. You know, put all of them funny little circly bits under the S's and the C's like the French have. Someone's got to do them weird little dots on letters at random integers.
Okay, so we're going to
What's
distract.
the integer?
It's the bit between the bits.
That's not what I heard it called.
You want to pose as spirits to distract them so that we can plant the documents so that the person can be busted by the authorities. So just a
I
good
think
old
that's
fashioned.
the only plan that makes sense.
Oh yes, just a good old fashioned ghost busting. That'll do it.
Perfect.
But maybe we can come up with a plan B.
What we play bees.
Yes, we just.
I see. While you deliver the honey.
Oh, okay.
I guess we could cover him in some form of syrup, which would stick him to his bed sheets, thus making him incapable of.
So Walter, right? I think what we need here is a classic military maneuver.
Moan over.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Perfect. Do
Right.
continue.
Yes,
Go on.
expand.
Right? Yeah, we flank them. Right?
Ah,
Think they're gonna come in one way, come in the other.
the old horns of the buffalo.
Yeah.
So
I don't know what a buffalo is, but sure.
Well, it's one of them big pigs off in the New World, isn't it? What they're all fighting over.
What? That's
similar
dumb.
to a dragon, I heard.
Well, if there's fucking dragons, I really hope it's a fucking dragon.
What about if we pretend to be a dragon?
Go on.
That is the entirety of the
Ah.
That
plan.
is the plan. That is the entire plan. Okay, very good.
I mean, what you need to consider during the planning stage of a plan is how much plan is too much plan. You don't want to get it convoluted, right? That's what
Yes.
we say. Up home in Birmingham, we say,
Right,
hey,
hey,
give me a bottle
no.
of water. Number
Hey.
2, God love the Queen. And number 3, don't over convolute the dragon plan.
Yep, if there's one word I would use to not describe this group, it would be convoluted. Very good.
Hey,
Exactly.
no, Lee. Remember the summers we at Grandma's. We need to try and get the sweets that we weren't supposed to have. Right, so what do we do?
You were not there.
I remember though. I don't need to be
Right.
there to remember things.
Right, well, listen, it was pretty cool. I bet Dad told him when they served together.
Mhm.
But listen, right, so we had somebody light a bag of shit from the front door. Go through the window. What I'm saying is, perhaps we don't got shit, we got that vomit.
We light a bag of sick on fire, is what you're suggesting.
You?
Well, I mean, that's essentially a dragon, right? It's large projectiles of flames hurled at you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
The word. This is perfect.
We
Mabel,
invented the door
I haven't
and we'll
shit
break
in
in through a
bag
window.
in years.
I think we
Right,
got ourselves
yeah,
a
that's
plan.
what I'm
No
saying.
more questions. They're down for the night.
It's been some time, Nolly. Let's do it. Here we would it. And
Mhm.
if they're sweets, we steal them too, because I can't forge documents. I don't even know how you go about that. Can you get iron that thin?
I suppose the actual forging we could probably take care of tonight, as long as we've got a little bit of candlelight and hopefully a little bit of luck.
Then you can use the candlelight as a wax seal. I see what you're thinking.
We could do that as well.
Yeah.
Although it might
Gosh.
be better. That's actually a good point. If we could find a seal within the office, that would add to the forgery quite a bit.
I mean, we could go to the zoo. Loads of
zoo.
seals.
They don't have a zoo on the premises. It's just livestock pens.
What's the sale?
Livestock for seals.
We might have to go to the wax museum if we're going to get a wax seal, though. But
Oh,
in
Madam
this
Two
case,
Swords.
Hey, madam, we ain't got time to go to France.
No, madam, your 2 swords. We can put them to use.
I just have the one.
Speaking
Oh, I
of,
see. Well, we can cut it in half.
Hey, you can fucking cut your own sword in half.
I don't
This
know what that's
one's
supposed to mean, but it's been suggested. You sound like my ex-wife, right? Are we playing this plan or not?
If
as
you propositioning me in this moment, you're up in the night, mate.
That sounds promising.
you know what else we could do? Since we happen to have a specialized doctor within our midst, perhaps a
Oh, no, I don't
little,
want to cut it in half.
perhaps striking a little fear of the plague into the land itself might allow us to get through.
I've got another plan.
Oh, what do you-
as-
you?
I can't even. I'm not even gonna describe it now. I just you guys just fucking respond to him. He's like, you all could fuck off and leave this property to us, cause we was gonna rob here first.
Hey, fuck you.
I turn around
Oh,
and see where the
fuck
voice
you.
is coming from.
I mean,
So-
technically, it's not wrong. That is a viable option.
There are 3 individuals standing there. All look like brigands. Very much just highwaymen of the sort, brandishing flintlock pistols and swords.
Mabel's gonna draw her sword and
one of
hold
them.
it level. Hey, don't touch that fucking vomit. It's ours.
I
Yeah.
didn't fucking
You
want
like
it
Dick
anyway.
Turpin and the
No,
other one.
Belle,
Hey, you
Belle,
want to
please.
try it? Fucking come at me. Last person that did that turned into a fucking pie, isn't it?
What? This is
I chopped them up
disgusting.
into small bits. Like they could be put in a like they call the pies mince meat, you know. And I'm good with a fucking sword.
Your accent's
Not
very
good
hard
with
to place,
words.
mate. Almost like it's from somewhere that doesn't exist yet.
I hear that all the time.
What are you all
Hey,
doing
where
here?
are you from? Wait, no, hey, where are you from?
I'm from one of those small principalities in that way.
You're a prince.
No,
What the fuck you do? What you robbing people on the road then for? You got your own riches?
I've got no riches. Not me.
Oh, you're
But
Cornish.
it sounds like
I
you're
mean-
trying to
To the
get
accent,
riches.
no money, gotta be from Cornwall. Got ya.
No,
Yeah,
we tell him.
No, this
No,
is
we tell him.
perfect. You 3, you're trying to rob that house. We 4 are trying to unrob it.
The fuck's that supposed to mean?
Hmm.
How do you unrob a place? You're gonna go put the. You wait for us to come out, and then you can put the riches back once we took them.
Oh, but heaven-
Not the riches, other things. Papers. And they pull
We
up
don't
a
want any
list of
papers.
papers and wiggle them. They're not for you.
Exactly.
Luckily, we
That's
don't
the
want
point.
any
We don't
riches from
want
the house
papers.
either.
We want to get rid of papers. What if we helped you rob this house? And in return, all you had to do was get rid of the papers what we give you.
All 3 of them look at you. Make a charisma check for me, Sir William
Ooh.
or Sir Walter.
Don't know if that's a good thing or not. We'll find out. It's a 19.
They look at you and they're still unconvinced. They're contemplating, but they're still unconvinced, and they still got swords drawn. They go, well, why would you help us rob the place? I've never heard of nobody who goes to a new house and just goes to go. toss all the they want to put papers into a house instead of take riches out of a house. That didn't make any sense.
Right, well, man, Peter, some food.
What?
Well,
Man-
we only
man
want
gave
one
us-
thing out the house. That stampy thing, what you wanted. We'll let you rob this place. We'll just stave off our robbing, right? We won't rob nothing if you rob one thing for us.
You want us to take stuff for you? And
I
then-
know.
So you have all the rest of it. Call it like, finder's fee. And you
Well-
give us a little tiny stampy thing.
They all look at each other, and the main brigand looks back at you, and he goes, "That sounds like a job. We'll do it, but we want to be paid for it."
You get to keep whatever else you can rob.
Yeah, it's part of
We'll
the...
provide a distraction, then you'll rob the place, and we'll put some papers in. It'll be perfect. We can have a symbiotic relationship. We'll
I was
be
that mean.
the rhino, and you'll be the blood, the oxpecker, the
I don't know the fuck any of
blood-sucking
those are.
bird.
Yeah,
on
you
the
shouldn't
back.
call people that. They'll get pissed.
And I don't like anybody talking about my pecker. Bugger off.
Was. Aye, she's a lady. You watch your tongue.
And he is really...
I-
This is like...
Magnolia emphatically shrugs at "she's a lady."
Tell you what, gents. How about we toss a little coin your way? That way, even if you walk out of there without much valuables, you'll have a little bit of coin in the meantime.
Okay. Go ahead and make another charisma check for me. I'm going to take Cole's +2 that he threw at the main brigand and give that to you as a -2, because I don't do much rolling as a DM, but I'll still let it benefit you.
Okay. I roll an 11, so is it adding to that to make it difficult?
Subtract it.
minusing
It's,
it.
yeah, it's
So you got
making
a
it
9.
easier on you.
Okay, so yeah, that'd be a 9.
9? Okay. He looks at you and he goes, "Right, well, yeah, well, I mean, we can talk about plans. You gotta cough up the coin first, though. We'll sit down."
How you feel about jerky?
Nah, I don't eat meat. Doesn't sit well
Why?
with me. You ain't got any English muffins and jam though. Love that.
Certainly-
In what state? In what state you want it?
Preferably warm with jam and
I
biscuits.
believe it's still warm.
Aye, yeah. Should be some natural heat to it.
But
It's like, right, well, sit around. Weird that you don't even have a fire going yet. But
Hey, fuck you!
it's cold. Fuck you. They shrug up their coats and I'll sit on the opposite side of this kind of weird conversation
Encampment.
circle that they have now with you guys bartering with them. We're gonna take a break there, and we're gonna leave for intermission for like 5 to 7 minutes, and we will be back here shortly. Thanks for sticking around for all of the antics, and we'll see you in a bit. Getting some feedback. Why am I getting feedback? Somebody's echoing. Anyway, we're back, and I am your host, Mads, and we are filled with 400% shenanigans right now. I think the echo's gone, which is nice. Whoever fixed it is spectacular. But this is nothing but just tomfuckery as we play 17th Century Minimalist with a bunch of hooligans trying to frame Sir Clarence Miller III of weapons dealing to both sides of the French and Indian War right now. It's a good time. We're currently talking with 3 brigands around a fire about the plan to steal stuff.
Aye, there's no fire yet. They haven't stopped blathering long enough for us to make one.
That's true. That's true. There's no fire yet. But yeah, we're chatting about some plans to get into this guy's house and hopefully serve everybody's purposes. So around the fire, these 3 brigands have kind of just taken a seat across from you. They're a little confused, but you're very similar people. They look at the 4 of you, and the head brigand pipes up again, and he's like, "Right, so what's the plan? You
I
guys
think
seem to have a
honestly-
plan. You said you were gonna
Well-
pay us, which we still got to do before that, but
So, here's what I'm thinking. we combine our previous plans in a small way. So we take the idea of setting something on fire. We set maybe the servants' homes or the
Set the servants on fire.
not the servants, but maybe the livestock pens on fire. Everybody has
Set the
to
livestock
come
on
out to
fire.
deal with that. Then you all sneak in through the back and start robbing the place, and we will come in a little bit after you and then go up and plant our documents, and then we all get out together.
Right.
No one gets hurt. No one gets caught.
So you just want us to go do our thing?
Yeah, but we'll provide a distraction, and then you'll provide a distraction for us.
Like
mutual
right now?
distraction shit. No, in the morning. We have to wait until the
It
the
will be a
service door is unlocked.
coordinated attack.
Okay.
What was your plan, if I might ask?
Well, I thought you were just gonna pay us to go put shit in there, and then you guys were just gonna sit. So this.
Why?
No, that
You gonna
works.
kill-
No, please. I mean, we'll take the help. I didn't know what we didn't really have a plan, to be honest. We were just.
Hey,
gonna
what's
go
your
and
name?
Kill some folks. Roger.
Roger. And those two?
Oh, they don't talk much.
But they had names?
No, they're both mute. I.
They're both named Mute.
No, they both can't talk, so I don't know the names.
You never... Can they read?
I mean, not really. Can you read?
I don't see why you gotta turn it back on me like that, mate. Roger.
Magnolia raises their hand and puts it down.
Well, Roger and the boys, I suppose. They can hear though, right? They're not
Well, yeah.
They're okay, and they can follow directions, good, right?
Oh yeah, they're sneaky as fuck.
Ah, good.
Right. How can they be snaky?
I mean, they don't.
They tell you that they're snaky.
I've never heard them run.
Well, they can't be
rummaging
telling you
about.
much, can they?
Right, that's what I'm saying. So yes, you know.
Well, no, hey, don't be rude.
I
Just 'cause you
think
haven't-
Well,
that
they can't
being
hear me.
mutes is probably an advantage in their being sneaky.
Yeah.
They can't hear me be
Roger's
rude.
lads
It's
are
fine.
going to do a great job.
And honestly, should one of them get caught,
Turns and thumbs
they're
up.
not going to say a thing.
That's very useful.
That's why I keep them around. Don't tell them that though.
Perfect.
Can they not hear you say that?
Oh fuck yeah, that's right. They can hear. They just can't talk.
We did discuss that they can hear. Yes, that's true.
Yep,
But I'm sure
you
they
said
don't
that.
mind.
Right. Well, don't take that to heart. Love you both. But yeah, no, it'll be good. We'll go take a. I guess we could just nap here.
Right, Roger, you got a bag, like an empty bag. You're
Why?
not rather. Hey, we just met. You should trust me. You got a bag.
I do. He takes. It's just like a burlap. It looks like an onion bag. Like
Is there anything in it?
yeah, onion skins.
Hey, it's right. It's a good kindling. And Mabel's gonna go set to scooping vomit into this bag.
Oh god. What's she doing?
Apparently, she's preparing a distraction.
Oh, okay.
This is the classic dragon part of the famed to-be dragon heist.
I see.
We got the dragon.
Mhm.
We got the three spirits. We got Roger and the boys, whose first album was amazing, by the way. And I am looking forward to getting in and getting our documents slipped in where they need to be. Whoosh.
Wait, you slipping something in where?
Well, I got to slip the documents in the pigeonhole, didn't I?
I ain't never heard it called that, but all right.
I thought that was what my job was. I had to slip the documents in the pigeonhole.
I don't think they have any pigeons, but
Well,
we
as
just
long as
have to.
we're all good, aren't we? If
We
all
just
the pigeonholes were for the pigeons, I wouldn't be able to slip nothing in there, would I? Think it through.
Yeah,
You're
you're not
right.
gonna-
What's the
My
amateurs
mistake.
here? That's a problem. Can't hold their jerky. Can't think up the plans. I have to do everything round here. Blimey,
Yeah, you know
O'Reilly.
Hey, you ain't
just
shoveling
ready to
vomit.
go.
Oh
I
god,
didn't
is
have
that
to
what you're
vomit
putting in my
that through.
fucking bag?
I
What?
don't worry about it. You'll be reimbursed. That's what
Oh,
I was
don't
told
burst his
once.
bag.
You all were gonna pay us.
Yes.
What you got?
Well, I was thinking there's 3 of you. How about 10 silver split amongst you, and you get the extra. So that's 3 each, and then 1 for you, 1 extra for you. So that's 4 for you.
I know how to do math, and I was part of a union once. That's not exactly fair wages, is it?
I mean, you're leading
Hey.
the group. You're like the what do they call it? You're the supervisor.
Right, and the supervisor
Manager.
ought to be paid more.
Yes. So they'll get 3, and you get 4.
No, what I'm saying is your base rate's too low, mate. You gotta bump it up, and you gotta pay more than what you just asked for. You
Oh
said
yeah. Well, hey, what are you
the
on
minimum
about?
working wage is rubbish.
Of 17th century England? Yeah, I would imagine so.
I get that not most people don't think that way, but we're respectable blokes, and I want to be paid appropriately.
Well,
Respectable. You was about to rob us
Oh.
blind.
Yeah, and we were gonna get a good day's wages out of it.
well,
Hmm.
and that's the thing. You'll still get a good day's wages out of it. So consider this a down payment on anything that you happen to steal.
Exactly. This is a bonus.
What's a commission based then?
Yes.
I guess
Hey,
that
what's
makes
the
sense.
commission? Isn't that when you get a fancy badge in the army?
No, that's a commissar. I think.
No, that's when the Russians do
That's
it.
what I said.
Oh right. Yeah.
That's the USSR. But anyways, so yes, we'll give you this down payment as kind of a bonus, and then whatever you make on top of that is what you would normally get. So this is all working out just peachy for all 3 of you.
Fine. We'll take the 10, but it does feel a little bit like somebody being paid to be a waiter and then hoping that they get tips from it at the end of the night. It's not really.
Well,
Well, that'd be
there
ridiculous.
are
What
going to
structure of
be-
payment would do that?
This is-
What sort of insane nation of lunatics would adopt that as a monetary currency wage?
Yeah,
That's insanity.
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
There's no uncertainty here, though. There are valuables in the building, and you will find them. You're good at your jobs.
That's true. We are pretty good at our jobs.
And if anything, you're getting paid to do a job that we're helping to make easier.
You know what? You've got all a deal. And he holds his hand out. It looks like he's holding out his hand out to shake your hand, but really he just kind of like upturns it, just ready to fucking be paid. Just...
Oh, right. And I'll pull out 10 silver.
Okay. Perfect.
I think somewhere around this time, when we're getting ready to forge our own documents, Magnolia sits down next to Mabel and says, "So I see you're getting along really well with Roger, and I just want to, I feel like as your older cousin, I just want to make sure. Did your parents ever tell you about the birds and the bees? Because Roger seems like a really nice fella, and
What are you on about, birds and bees? That's not a part of the plan.
Look,
I don't remember a part about bees.
No, we specifically did talk about bees at one point.
We
I do
did
remember
discuss
that.
these. Remember the whole slathering with honey?
This is
Oh, that's right. But no, I don't think that's going to work. You know how much honey it would take to slather all over? It's a lot. I ain't never seen that much honey in my entire life.
I was worried about you, but I can see.
Are you worried about Roger's honey? Is that what you're
concerns
saying?
were misplaced.
All right. Yeah. So listen, can we just fucking get on with it? Because I think that Roger mate might be into me and we'll knock boots later.
Talk about the British coming.
All right.
you.
Well,
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba. And I broke the
Let's
stream.
forge some documents, hey?
Okay. Oh, almost choked on a fruit snack. Ate a fruit snack to calm me down. I'm okay.
I was a fruit snack.
I wasn't using the right British accent there, so you can. I wasn't in game.
It's not British either.
Fuck off! Oh God.
Fuck you. Maybe later.
Okay, so
You lot were Cornish or something.
I think that's what you called us. I don't pay a lot of attention to politics.
That or another C word, I can't remember. But you're all right by my books as long as I get to be the dragon. These three dress up as ghosts and you rob the place.
What's that about a pile of ticks?
Hey, hey, William and Magnolia, why don't we get out and forging some documents?
Hey!
Sounds
Let's
like
do
a
it.
plan.
That's what we were meant to be doing, I remember.
Okay. So
Have you ever forged anything before, Magnolia?
Just my medical license.
Perfect. Consider you actually know that I'm talking about writing implements. I think you've gone just kilometers ahead of the other two, so I think we're good.
Oh God. Who needs a medical license when you got style?
Or, as the case may be, a big bag of leeches.
It's not even a jar, it's just a bag. It's just...
A bag of
Right, I
jars.
couldn't ask Nolly for her bag. That's for her leeches.
Yeah. Let's not mix them up and lit the leeches on fire.
Leeches, a small compartment for like 6 rats. Between 1 and 6 rats.
I'm sorry. I just pause. If this turns into a what's up doc situation where we have a bag of leeches, a bag of vomit, and a bag of forged documents, I will be so fucking happy.
No, I know this one. We have
Then
to
we
put the
switch them around and you've
we have
got
to
to pick the cup with the right one.
no. We
Barbara
gotta
Streisand just bursts in.
we can't put the leeches and the vomit on the boat together, otherwise the leeches will eat the vomit. So we have to
That's
put the,
true,
we have
yes.
to put them on with
Oh,
the
this is the
documents.
problem. Oh no! How's the dragon going to transport it all?
Oh,
If you put the vomit with the paperwork, that's going to get mulchy.
Right?
I'm gonna operate under the assumption that I should be rolling intelligence.
I mean, someone has to here. Jesus, look at us.
Based on your experience, Magnolia, with forging documents, I'm gonna make William roll intelligence, and I'm gonna make you roll luck.
Okay.
Okay, intelligence.
You're gonna have me roll luck, and then I'm going to
Hey.
spend some luck to succeed.
I got a 2.
Very nice. Okay, so the first part of the plan is admittedly going very well. You have you at least have forged the
Somehow.
documents in a way that you are comfortably satisfied that should somebody find them, they are believably of the estate of Clarence Miller III, and they look like he's a fucking treasonous bastard as far as the king is concerned, and is redistributing part of the stock that ought to be going to the British forces to the French.
Right, these look all right.
And you put them in a bag, identical to the other two, because you think that's a good idea. I'm just...
Perfect.
All we found was this bag of vomit on his desk.
He's a fucking gross person, and I don't want him in charge. He doesn't
These
get
kind
his
of
gun
fuckers
up.
we don't need in America.
How the
What?
fuck's he supposed to run a country? Can he keep vomit off his desk?
Incompetence of the highest order. Oh. It's not a chancellor, it's just a chunderer.
Oh, good God. All right, so are you all taking a nap or go to bed until the morning?
Yep.
Or okay.
Yep.
We should do shifts. I believe. I mean, we did see wolves not long ago, and these hills are just run amok with brigands. So
The three
No
brigands.
offense.
The one of them, one of the mutes, like sits up and just kind of slaps the dude who can talk, and he sits up and he goes, "What? Right?
I
You-
believe he just got volunteered for first shift.
Oh yeah, no, I was. Yep. Nope, I can watch. Oh,
Beware the
do
wolves.
that afterwards. You guys can just sleep, since we're being paid and all. Makes more sense for us to do the watches.
Okay.
Very well. I trust them implicitly.
I don't.
Okay.
How about I stay up with you chaps, and then we can, 4 eyes or 8 eyes are better than 6? You all have your eyes, don't you?
Well, I mean, yeah.
Okay.
That guy's only got the one. I can see him plain as day. You gonna fucking lie to our faces like that?
By that logic, we should have a spider keeping watch.
You
Oh,
should not be
actually-
staring at a chap's one eye in front of
But
everyone.
where else am I supposed to look?
Oh God.
Well, I guess if it's winking back at
Wait
you, I
for it.
guess it's kind of hard. And you're going to win the staring contest, which I approve of.
Wait for it.
Okay.
Wait for it. Yes!
Ah, there we go.
Right, well,
We manifested it.
Yeah, no, I forgot about this.
What?
I
I
forgot.
thought you said he was mute.
No, they got
That's
both
right.
of their eyes. I've only got the one.
Oh, you're
That's not
one-eyed
what you look
Roger.
like.
I've heard of you.
Now you're getting it. Okay.
You look a little more rugged that way.
You know,
Oh,
now
thank
that
you.
we've actually lit a fire, I can see. I don't know how we missed it before. It's just so
You're gonna have
dark.
to be more careful. If you get any more rugged, she's going to put that fire out. You got to be careful, son.
Mabel looks
Oh,
over
no.
at Noli and goes, "Not for me, mate. Not for me."
All right. Well, how about the 3 of you sleep, and the 4 of us will keep an eye out for any wolves or roving bandits and whatnot.
You're not gonna rob
Perfect.
us
The
in
3
our
of you
sleep,
sleep,
are
the
you?
4 of us will keep the bandits away. Right.
Just as long as we don't get robbed. We don't like bandits neither.
Right? Yes. You can't trust them.
And kind of waves to the 2 who are mute, just like they both fall back asleep, and then he goes to bed.
All right.
Aren't bandits just friends you haven't met yet?
I can't see with the eye patch on. That's my good eye.
All right. So the 3 of you will sleep, and then we'll shift off.
Okay, sounds good. Who's taking first watch?
I will.
That's William. Okay, give me a. Well, this is weird without the wisdom thing. Let me see. Hold on.
Maybe a luck chance that nothing happens.
I'll give you the choice. You can roll luck or intelligence.
Luck is 1 higher.
They are literally the same.
I rolled a 13. My luck is 9.
Very good.
I doubt it.
Some different definition of very good, which means failure.
All right. So, you keep an eye out, and every once in a while the 2 mute brigands almost alternate shifts of having night terrors to which they can't communicate, and they just like freak out and sit up, and then look at you, and then they give the like, you didn't see fucking anything, like, I'm sorry, and then go back to bed.
I wouldn't turn you in. A mime is a terrible thing to waste.
But beyond that, yeah, everything's golden. Your shift goes well.
All right.
Who's next?
Reckon I
yeah.
can just look about. So I got 2 good eyes.
All right.
Right.
Okay, yeah, give me a roll. I was like unconvinced as to which of you 2 were actually doing that. Please.
Oh, hell yeah. That's a 7 for 7. Oh, shit, but I gotta roll with disadvantage. One second, because Proper gave it to me. One sec.
Oh,
This
damn.
is gonna be bad. Oh, that's a crit! That was a crit!
God
I will take my
damn.
tied 7.
Very nice. All right, so you do very well.
Very good.
The night is relatively relaxed. And I'm trying to think. No, nothing happens on this shift. We are on to the 3rd and final morning shift as things crest into the dawn. Who's taking it?
Got this.
Okay, give me a
Enter
roll.
luck.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a 213.
Perfect. All right, so you keep an eye out, and you notice at the distance from everything, you can watch the servants kind of start milling about. They're up significantly earlier, and they can start milling through that servants' entrance. a little bit of congregation, and then they go forward. But people are out and about and working and things, and it is of potential concern to you that people are out and about and working on things this early, only because you're not particularly hidden from this. I don't know if you want to do anything about that or what, but yeah, people could, in theory, see you if they wanted to do anything about it.
Do we want to wait until like dusk or?
But we've still got to make all the costumes, yeah?
Sure.
For our disguises. So if we do get seen, you know, because if you see a burglar burgling the back of the house, right, which is our three mates, Roger and the Boys, first album's great, second album disappointing, right? And then you come to the front of the house and you see some ghosts, you're going to think that's ghosts and that's burglars. Because if you saw burglars at both ends, you'd think, we're being burgled at both ends. If you see ghosts at both ends, you think we're being haunted at both ends. And if you see burglars and ghosts, you'll think we've been burgled and I'm gone mad. So, Scott,
and then you would honestly probably take your luck with, or take your chances with the burglars as opposed to the ghosts.
Exactly.
Yes, I see what you're saying.
It all made sense. I think I've done this too many times.
I just want to be clear here. We're supposed to be the ghosts, or
no, we're the ghosts. You're the burglars.
Got it.
Right.
Yeah.
Mabel's just gonna reach down and stick her hands in the mud and like get some and like smear it on her face in kind of like a general beard shape. Right, that should do it.
Right. I don't know if you know what a ghost is.
No, it's
She's the
a
ghost
beard.
She's the ghost of the present with the beard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that a reference?
And I'll be the ghost of the future with the
maybe some nettles on your.
I know I'm allergic.
Ooh.
Nobody told me that word.
All nettles are allergic. They sting, don't they?
Well, you trying to come in here and sound smarter than me in front of all my friends?
No, I was trying to protect you. William just said he should put berries and nettles in your beard, and then I was like, no, because they sting.
That's
Doesn't matter
right,
who you
gentlemanly of you.
are. Yeah, I'm looking out for you.
Right, with your good eye?
Right, with my good eye.
Right.
Old good eye Roger, they say.
Look, all right, we're going to get to doing that thing. I'm going to go around the front with the boys, and then they're going to do their thing, probably make a lot of noise, and I'm going to sneak in.
Okay, he's going to have a one-eyed Roger around the front. We're going to sneak in the back passage. Everything's going to go smoothly. No one's getting sticky with the honey, and hopefully we leave a deposit on the way out.
I ain't never heard it called that, but all right.
Well, it sounds like a night of adventure, doesn't it?
It's the morning, isn't it? I don't want to wait another night for this.
Oh, well, I don't want to keep you waiting if you're waiting on me.
No, I'm not waiting for you. I want to go steal those biscuits inside. I'm fucking hungry.
There we go.
The three of
I
them
got some
stand up.
jerky.
The three of them stand up and kind of start sneaking off towards the front of the house.
Your signal is when the building's on fire.
Good God.
We're lighting the building on fire. I thought we were just lighting the sick on fire.
It's not sick, it's vomit.
I thought we were gonna set one of the
When
animal
we set the
pens on
chunder
fire.
charge off, then it's going to set the rest of the house on fire, isn't it?
Yeah, we just like
The chunder charge. I thought that's what we were calling it.
Best plan ever. All right.
Perfect. Foolproof.
who you calling a fool? Is it me? I heard that several times
I mean,
actually.
No, that's what we call
If-
forged
if you can't
documents.
fit.
Hurts my self-confidence, if I'm honest.
I need it. I haven't prepared a ghost costume. I didn't think we'd get this far. Right. Okay. I'm having to think. Right. I'm trying to source my ghost costume here.
I will just like pull gauze out of my herbalist's kit and drape
Have
it
they got
on
any
me.
laundry hanging up out on the washing line in the garden?
Hey, you
They
got
do.
laundry.
They do indeed.
They do.
I'm gonna be a fancy ghost.
Blouses and tablecloths and the
I'll be right back, lads. Don't you worry about me one iota. I'm gonna slink away towards the garden.
Magnolia, give me a charisma check for your disguise. Sir Walter, give me a dexterity check for your sneak.
Bam.
Did you mean Magnolia or Mabel?
Hey, I know.
Magnolia,
Not
because you were
yet.
doing the gauze.
Oh, sure. Hey, that's a 5 under another number. 7.
Nice.
Yeah, we're good.
Hell yeah.
Passed
Everyone's
it
getting-
by 2.
Everyone's getting costumed. I forgot. Am I a
ghostly.
ghost? Am I a ghost, or are you the second distraction, and I actually switch out the documents?
I hand you the documents.
Oh, right.
Godspeed.
Excellent plan.
You want to put
You
those
had
in a
one of 3
bag?
identical bags.
You know, I've got my own bags, as it turns out, and I'm just going to put those in here.
That just has in finely like gold embroidered, like just beautiful lettering. Documents, not vomit.
Yeah. It's good to label your
Documents
bags.
en français.
Sir Walter, what did you get for your dex roll?
I got a 9, and my dex is 11.
Very nice. So you sneak over and grab a bunch of white garments of various kinds off of the
Yeah. The line.
line. You're not dressed currently a whole lot better than any of the servants hanging out, so it's not too hard to just pass through briefly.
Perfect. And I'll shimmy back to the group
Very nice. A good
and
shimmy.
display all the lovely garments what I've got.
Right, that's a proper shimmy you got there, mate.
I was long rehearsed.
Are any of the
I
garments like work, like housework garments?
No, I assume he probably grabbed a whole bunch of blouses and tablecloths and things to make you look like
Yeah,
ghosts.
tablecloth, rugs, sheets, like linens, anything that will just be perfect ghost apparatus.
Perfect. This is exactly what we needed, yes.
And obviously something to make the dragon wings from.
Of course. That would be silly if you forgot.
There's some pitchforks back there. Probably use them as
Yeah.
leverage.
Right. What you do is you put the pitchfork in your armpit, either side. That's going to anchor it, right? And it will like grab onto you. And then from there you can
Get
leave it
real
up and down like
stuck in
dragon
there.
wings while you deliver the
Yeah.
chunder charge through the letterbox, right? Flap your way away because no one's going to bother a dragon, right? And at that point, that's when the 3 amigos, Roger and the Twats or whatever they're called, and our ghosty friends are going to haunt on in, ooh, in the old horns the buffalo pincer movement, and do what we need to do.
Okay.
Isn't a buffalo some kind of pig? I think that's what you told me.
Yeah, I think so. I haven't really read it.
Okay, so you'll get convincingly dressed up as much as you believe you are to be ghosts. With William just awaiting the signal to sneak in and do the actual job. You've got 3 folks out on the front door. And what is... oh, this is beautiful. I love all of this. So, are you said we're lighting stuff on fire first, then you're going to the back door?
We're
Yeah.
throwing the bag of lit vomit into the stable? Is that
I the front door.
the front door? Okay.
No, but Roger
Yeah.
and the Twats were at the front door.
Nah, it's a bad bug, really. Okay. Hey, Roger. You daft. Okay, burglars are mentioned from the front door. I ain't never burgled nobody.
Well,
And even I know the front door is a fucking proper moronic plan, mate.
I think this plan's foolproof. I don't see what the problem is. I thought we went through all this.
Listen, it might be foolproof, but it ain't Roger-proof.
Oh, that's a good point.
Right.
Never suspect an inconvenient Roger.
That's right. Well, I think Inconvenient Roger and the boys are waiting for a signal to start.
yeah, 'cause
The difficult third album, isn't it?
yeah, 'cause out of clarification, the conversation that they took from was Sir Walter talking about the Pincher operation of you being ghosts and them being bandits, and they thought, okay, so we'll go rob the front door, and then the ghosts go in through the back, so they've already rounded the house, getting
No,
ready
the
to burst.
side. The side. You never flank from the back. You flank from the sides.
I guess we're lighting
Well,
the side of the house on fire.
It looks like part one's already gone, so should we set it on fire now? Who's playing the dragon?
Might
At this
as
point,
well.
we can either light the stable on fire and send the animals scattering, and hopefully they have to go after them, or we light the
Alright.
side of the house on fire and go in through the back, or we could light the back on fire and go through the side. Who knows?
We don't need to light the house on fire at all. There are outbuildings.
I didn't
What
think we
about
were
my
lighting the house
There's
on
Broadway
fire.
at the animal pens.
Right,
Oh, if
I
we light
spent
the house
10
on fire, we'll light
minutes.
the documents on fire, won't we? Hang on.
I spent 10 minutes picking up this vomit, and some of it got on my hands. We are lighting it on fire, so help me God.
We can
So
still light
who's
it on
taking the
fire.
vomit?
We'll just not light the house on fire, because then people
Right.
will leave the house.
Wouldn't that help us in the long run?
Who's getting in the wicker dragon I made?
Dear God, that's impressive.
I'm gonna get in the dragon. I'm gonna take the chunder charge over to the outhouse. When you see the flames, that's when you.
That's in our house.
I have
Well,
zero.
I'll set something on fire. When you see the flames, that's when you go. All right?
Okay, so
We'll agree. Easy.
I'm gonna press this forward, and I have
Please
no
do.
desire to stop the snowball that is happening right now. So Sir
Okay.
Walter
We
travels.
can't help that Roger's a bad burglar, mate.
So Sir
It's a
Walter
simple plan.
travels back towards the two servants' quarters homes to light a fire in his wicker dragon.
Right, hang on. Get me wicker dragon. I'm on my wicker dragon. I'm on my dragon.
Fucking hell. That man can run faster than I think I've ever seen another man run.
I'm more
He's got
impressive.
whales.
I'm more impressed by his wicker skills. Dear God, that came out of nowhere.
Right, it's a lot of free time in the military. You pick up a lot of interesting skills.
Didn't realize the military had a wicker division, but who knows? We're learning
Ah,
new
they
things
d-
every day.
They don't. That's just his passion.
I have
It's like,
completely lost control of this episode.
And then from his wicker dragon, he's going to chuck the chunder charge in. Along Z, frogs, Z.
and a flaming bag of vomit. Glides at the side of the fucking servants' quarters.
immediately goes out
Like,
because it's a flaming bag of vomit.
No, see, I was picturing it like a Molotov, and it's just like.
I did drink a lot of wine before shed.
So,
Right.
the side of the building, the servants' quarters, has begun to light on fire slower
They're
than you
Petey
would
Mog.
like, but it's getting there. The wicker dragon now needs to do something. You three are heading towards the back of the house when you hear the front of the house, like, full kick, fly inward and just hear, right, you cunts, we're here to rob this fucking place. And then you hear several gunshots.
Oh no!
That's all signal. Oh boy. So,
As long as they got the mute sets fine, I'm not really. I like to have my sexual partners a little vocal, you know what I mean?
no, this is
Not really
fine.
my style. I can get over the one eye thing, but that is a bridge too far.
No, this is fine. According to the plan, the gunshots were the signal for the wicker dragon to shit out a ghost. So we're good to go.
God.
Rest in peace, Roger.
Oh.
You did your part. You're a bad burglar, but you was a good distraction.
All right, we run to the back door.
Yeah, let's get these documents.
There's just
set
straight
right proper.
chaos. This
As
is
the rest
perfect.
of the like servants and things are going to try to put out the house and wrangle the animals and stuff, you guys move to the back door. Are you guys just going in?
I'm gonna try and.
No,
Is
we're-
it locked?
I would like to roll for spooky, please.
We're gonna make that charisma.
Charisma? Hell yeah, I rolled a 2.
Very nice.
Beautiful.
Very
So you open the door at the same time that another servant with a pail of water is going to leave the other way to go help with the fire, and you just hear, "Oh fuck!" And they drop
Oh.
the whole pail, and just water goes everywhere.
I'm the ghost to your dead grandma. Show me where your sweets are.
I don't like my grandma. You're not supposed to be
I will
here.
fuck you, you ungrateful.
You died before my time. I was supposed to have you around for longer. You only now show
You
up.
self-entitled little shit. How about I just murdered you with this sword that I brought?
What? You brought what?
Yeah. Never go anywhere without your sword. Didn't you learn that?
Oh no, I learned it. And she pulls out a sword.
Magnolia is gonna like delicately push past, and if there's any resistance, we'll just be like, boo.
Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and pull out another bag of tricks.
Okay, what's this bag of tricks doing?
This is Card Swap. A character of inferior level is friendly for 5 minutes. So, rolling against charisma.
Yep.
+1 is 4.
Very nice. Okay, so this.
Are you crazy person? Can't you see there's bandits and ghosts and dragons? Run for your lives!
I don't need to run. I'm talking with me grandma. I've got beef with her.
No, I think your grandma wants you to run for your life.
Is that right, grandma?
Yeah, and I'm disappointed that you didn't inherit my beard.
I didn't.
She
like
rubs
it.
her mud beer.
As she starts running away, she turns to you and looks. I shaved it off in spite. And then keeps running.
Yeah, she's a right proper bastard, right, ain't she?
Well, she had to grow up without her grandma, the poor thing. But let's get along, shall we?
Hey, it's the 17th century. Most of us did.
So the door's open. So I guess we'll rush in.
So you guys head in. There's a main kind of central opening space you can actually see as you run in and it opens up. You can see the front door is wide open. There is 2 guards' bodies on the ground. And then nobody else in sight other than the lady who just ran out. And there are 2 sets of stairs going up either side. On the edge of this place, there's hallways leading to kind of the either side of the house on the main floor. Where are you guys going?
Where would the office be? Upstairs? Downstairs?
Like upstairs.
And it's not
I'll leave it
down?
upstairs.
Okay. So you run upstairs. As you all run upstairs, there is 2 more directions you could travel, left or right, heading deeper into the home. The right side has another dead guard. This one appears to have been stabbed multiple times.
Boy, Roger and the boys are really effective.
Yes. Bad burglars, good murderers. Good to know. Should put it on their resume.
The resume, yes.
Of course, a proper Brit would call it a CV, but that's fine too.
Speaking of resume, let's continue with the plot, shall we? Maybe the direction that they're not ransacking?
Okay, so you travel the opposite. Oh, yeah. Go
Well,
ahead.
I was just gonna say I like to play to lose, so let's split. It'll be fine. We have friends in one of those directions.
We can do more
Right,
damage
but
that way.
But no, like, isn't there only one set of documents?
Yeah, but as soon as we find the office, the other people will just be like, "Hey, there's the office over here."
Subtle, I like it.
You're right. You're right. We'll make ghost sounds, and that will say, "Hey, there's somebody. There's an office here." Woo!
I like that, but I think it needs more fire. Let's continue on.
Okay, so who's going left and who's going right?
Which
Who's
way
going-
was the dead guard?
Yeah, who's going dead guard way?
It's no point in me going dead guard way and you go murder other undead gods.
I'll
And
have
for that
the
logic-
dead guard way.
You're going to head dead guard way?
Yeah.
Okay. And then, Sir Walter, which direction? I guess you would be dead guard way as well. If we're splitting the party evenly. Unless you're just letting
Yeah, even
Magnolia. Okay.
I got leeches. I'll
I'll go
fine.
with Mabel then.
leeches and a box of rats.
Am
Okay.
I still in a wicked dragon?
So Mabel and William are heading the not dead guard way. Sir Walter and Magnolia, you are heading dead guard way. Sir Walter, give me a D4.
Okie dokie. It's a 4.
Perfect. I was bad at deciding things. So, all right. So we're going Walter and Magnolia Dead Guard way first. As you two step over this corpse, you can hear, and then like another dude just as he kind of falls out of the doorway of the hallway, and one of the mutes like rushes out from the hallway and sees you guys. It just does this.
Dragon.
He kind of runs into another room with his fucking knife. The room that he came from is a bedroom. The other room is a bedroom. But there is a number of things going down this way, and I mean, you could just hear fucking conflict through these. Are you heading? Well, this is interesting to how to tackle this. Yes, go ahead.
Right, DM, is the office on the left or the right? There can only be one. Unless this man's got two offices.
No, that's fair. I guess there really is
he
no
an
point
officer? There's a lot of officers happening.
Unless you want to
I
waylay
understand why
us.
you're confused.
Yeah, I mean, there really is no way to... There is really no reason to slow that down. The office would be on the Dead Guard side of the home. So, after some searching, and you all splitting up, it actually appears that Sir Clarence Miller III and his family are not at home. There's only guards and servants. So
spoke them out.
Just a
It's
a
the
lot
perfect plan.
of dead paid for folks. And you get to the office, which is behind his main bedroom. He keeps it adjacent to, planting said documents. As you all...
Don't do the spooky noise so they know.
Yes, please make a spooky noise for me real quick, so that somebody knows.
That charisma?
We have already established
There
that
we
this
go.
is charisma.
There we go. I couldn't do the spooky noise. I'm a dragon, so it wouldn't make any sense,
Got you.
obviously.
So, as you
On
all
my beak.
get
Al
to
the
the
Biffer,
office,
the spooky dragon.
Al, isn't it just Al the Spooky Biffer Dragon?
Well, I'm trying to think of the song, right?
The spooky dragon.
I don't see why we're going to bring that into it, but all right.
So,
This is going to be a recurring character.
documents planted. As you finish your business in the office, all congregated in the proper spot, you turn, and Roger and the twats stand behind you. Pistols at the ready. You can hear the click of a flintlock hammer pulling back, as they all look at the four of you and they go, I know you paid us, but I didn't find anything that I particularly fancied in this house, so
What do you mean?
this is the time that we part
not there.
ways. No, you would all be here at this point. Because this was after when we got to...
Right, we made the
back to
spooky
office.
noise. I
Yeah.
got it. I got it.
Okay.
I'm going to just gesture ineffectually at some tapestries. Some silk
Yeah.
sheets.
Yeah, they don't suit my style.
Mabel's just gonna rub a nearby banister. Hey, this is nice. Look at the craftsmanship on this.
That is
Probably.
some quality mahogany.
I'm not gonna fucking walk off with a whole banister.
Right, no, that wouldn't make any fucking sense. You could cut a chunk of it out.
I was just thinking
Well-
we were gonna kill you all and frame you for the thing that was going on here so that we could get out without getting...
Why can't we
Whoa,
just
whoa,
frame
whoa.
the already dead guards?
Let's
'Cause
not
they
be
did.
hasty, right?
Right,
You will
they
listen
killed
to the
me.
plan. You know there are 3 important bags for this plan. 3 very important bags. One of them, has paperwork, which you didn't fancy, right? You don't want fucking paperwork and shit. You fuck that off, right? Number 2 was the
safe.
ignition, the undercharge for
Yeah,
the plan,
you said
right?
you threw
We've
that one
flown
in a
that.
building.
Yeah, we did that. We did that
Fucking
one.
child.
But the third bag,
The only other
the
bag that we
third
have.
bag, which we still have in our possession, is the most valuable bag.
Right, what's
Now,
that
the thing
third
is-
bag got in it?
We were keeping it from you because we're no good rich folk, as you can tell, what with our clothes and proper speech and that, right? And because we're lordy old think we're better than you, we didn't want you to have it. See, savvy. So now we'll just give it you. But the thing is, right, this bag. The reason it's in a bag, you give it daylight like it is on what morning now. There, fucked it, right? All up the walls. So what you gotta do?
Daylight,
put your hand in the bag. Don't look at it. Just you got to, and then oh god, it feels like riches in there. You got to give it like lovely, but do it when you're gone.
I lift up my medicine bag quietly.
Bag of riches.
Can I get a charisma check from you, Sir Walter?
Roger's riches. I've got a
You know,
five for Roger's riches.
I'm so happy.
What did you roll, Sir Walter?
I rolled
He rolled a 5. He rolled
Very
a 5.
nice.
Fuck you.
My charisma's a 13.
One-Eye Roger's gonna take this bag of leeches and he's gonna be grateful.
He's gonna say thank you to me.
I was just trying to figure out if this is the bag of leeches or the bag of rats.
Same bag.
Oh god.
Same
Big bag.
bag.
Fair
Actually,
enough.
what I'll go ahead. What
So
I can
he-
do also is I can use another bag of tricks. Fake sound, create distracting sound within a short distance. And I'm just gonna give the bag a quick shake, and he's gonna hear all the gold coins inside.
Ooh.
That
Okay.
is a 1.
That is a
Bag of
convincing
leeches.
success from both of you
Yes.
very distinctly. So, as you hand off this bag and he can hear all the gold inside of it, he takes it and he goes, "I don't. What kind of money's in here that I can't touch it or it gets fucked in the daylight?"
Dragon money?
Tarnishes in the
tricks.
light.
Yeah, no. Hold this, you cunt. And passes it off. And the person has to be said a couple times. He takes the bag and he
Well,
like.
it's not written otherwise, is it?
No, it's not. He takes the bag and the three of them kind of walk off, and he's got his pistol and he looks at the four of you. He looks at Mabel and he goes, "Glad I didn't have to kill you."
Right. How about Thursday?
Yeah, where at?
A blonde bagger.
Okay.
Right.
Well,
See you then?
They're going with the honey plan.
Yeah, we'll see you then. That'd be
Yeah, right.
nice.
But Roger. Don't wear the eye patch. Doesn't do anything for me.
It's okay. I didn't need it anyway. I just thought it'd make me look rugged.
It doesn't. It's not good.
Yeah, he kind of takes it off and just like sets it aside. Appreciate your
better.
honesty.
Right, eh?
I'm
Most-
glad we're all able to part on honest, friendly terms. But we should do it quickly.
Well, what's the point in doing it quick then?
Well, not
Hey,
the
it's never
Thursday
mind.
thing. I mean, today we got to do this quickly.
Yeah, it's the fire's started to catch. Everyone into the Wicker Dragon.
I'm gone.
We'll make our escape.
Yeah, makes sense.
Let's...
I'll be off now, and they all leave, and he's just like, "See you Thursday." And they all kind of ride off with your horses.
Man, fuck it, we got this now.
I pull
This
it out.
is a listening machine. We're
I grab,
fine.
I grab a piece of parchment and some ink from the table.
I want to imagine for a moment they're like riding off with our horses. Like their bag gets jumbled at some point, and like 12 rats just pop out of it, scrambling all over somebody.
Roger's going, here, that's dragon gold, get that.
That's probably why they didn't want us open in the day. It's rats in the day.
Well, let's go. I'm quickly writing a note on some parchment in the office saying, "You cunts have been had by Roger and his boys." And I'm gonna stick a dagger in the back door and put it there, and then let's just fuck off.
Beautiful.
Don't forget the seals.
So you framed it on Roger and the boys, and
You think there's gonna be any problems when they find out that Roger can't read or write?
Well, I mean,
That's one of his boys.
even if they
Don't worry,
questioned
it's
him,
Fine.
Even if they question him and he gives them the truth, no one's gonna fucking believe him. Let's go.
Besides, he took our horses, so it kind of squares things up in the end, right?
That's right. Everyone
Like
in the
we were
dragon.
never even here. Nobody expected a dragon.
Exactly.
They did not.
No one expects the dragon.
Especially not one of such fine construction. She taps it.
You guys.
Foolproof. Told you.
So you begin walking back to your hometown, and
Avoiding the swamp this time.
avoiding the swamp this time. Sadly, what all of Sir Walter's tales have dictated about the fear of dragons is that they don't live in the moor. They prefer to assail people via highway. And a green worm of a European dragon rides out and rights itself and looks down at the four of you.
Yeah, no, this
Hey.
tracks.
Hey, William, quick! You were court just right. Yeah, you're knowledgeable about those, more courtly ways of engaging with one another.
Yep.
We do look like a dragon. Perhaps you could use your fancy flirting. Get us out of this.
Oh, hang on, let me get in the suit. I don't know if it's seen me yet. I might get away with it. I'm getting me dragon outfit. Seamless.
Give me a.
All right.
Please give me a charisma
Ooh.
check at disadvantage.
Ooh, Mr. Dragon.
No, I was having William help because William is a former court jester.
Oh, yes.
That should be an advantage.
Oh, mistress, we've encountered another dragon.
All right. Both of
Do I have to
you,
seduce this dragon?
Oh,
make a charisma
You've got to fuck
check.
this dragon to save our lives.
Oh, I'm gonna get fucked by a dragon. Oh no. It's gonna really hurt.
Both of us charisma?
Yep.
All right.
An 11, and my charisma is a 13.
I've also got an 11.
Okay.
Teamwork.
All right. So you both succeed, and this dragon leans further out of the wood and gets closer, right up, kind of snout to snout to you. And kind of recoils a little bit and looks at you and breathes a puff of smoke into your face and shows some teeth.
I lean over to Magnolia and I say, if we encounter 3 ghost necks, I am just gonna fucking run away.
And we're going to end this evidently relatively short episode with the visual of this dragon that you have just seduced looks at you dead in the eyes, brandishes both wings out, and flaps directly up into the air and just grabs you as a whole and just flies away with you in your dragon costume.
The British are coming!
It will be soon.
I'll take one for the team, chaps!
Oh, but the 3 of you make it back to town none the wiser. Thursday
I
goes
would have
good.
wanted it
He's
this
nice.
way.
I've
Yeah,
heard
but
that
I won't-
dragons
I
are
won't
very
be-
caring and sensitive lovers. So
Yeah. I won't be calling Roger back.
That's fine. He got
that's
arrested the
probably
day
for the
after.
best.
Date happened
Isn't
Thursday.
really-
Didn't go great.
Doesn't really seem like he has a plan for his future. How's he going to provide?
But if there's one
Can't
thing that
even
I've
burglar
learned,
right.
if there's one thing I've learned within the last 48 hours, is you can never really plan for the future.
All right.
Probably tried to pay for something. With those
Oh,
hats.
good God.
All right.
Maybe the leeches.
I love it. No, he's the 2 mutes died of the plague. Roger got out only because he got arrested before they opened the bag.
They wanted to make sure it was on that extra special night.
Yeah.
Are we doing like the Animal House end credit scene where we just like pause on a freeze frame of each character that we've encountered and where they are now?
Right.
Roger's just like this.
The family's horrified. The new colonial United States is fucked because of your encounters. It's good.
Walter's sitting on a dragon's hoard of gold, smoking a
That's
pipe,
not what I
like
thought
waiting
you
for
were
the
gonna
dragon to like
Sitting-
bring him like fucking tea. Like, here
Darling,
you
bring
are,
my slippers,
dear.
will you? And the broadsheets.
And everybody lived happily ever after, except for the Miller family, who lost a lot of shit.
Was most definitely framed by the world's most ingenious heist crew.
I love it. Thank you all for just bringing the worst fucking, like, chaos into this session in the best way.
Listen, are we
Okay,
officially
fine.
post-session?
We are officially post-session at this point.
Okay.
Oh my god.
JK, remember when you were like, we're going to play this like gritty, real, like it's like real life, you know, like there are consequences for your actions. Do you
Low
remember?
fantasy.
Yeah.
Do you remember when you said that?
Okay, so let me be clear, because I don't want to take this out of context. I didn't say I want to play this gritty, real, oh, fuck, I just spilled coffee liquor all over my best bag. I did not
Well, if
say
that doesn't sum up the night.
that this would be the best gritty, real, there will be consequences for your actions. I just said you were playing in low fantasy historical Europe and that it was a real
And then we
setting.
were like, there's a real dragon though.
To be completely fair to JK, he said that in the Discord when he set up the game, went, okay, everyone, this is the date that we're playing, this is the game we're going to be playing, here's the backstory, here's the booklet, blah, 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 blah. And then he added me to the group after all of that was said. I came in a little bit late because somebody doesn't check his Discord messages properly. And I came in late and got kind of bumped in, and then this happened. So
It is all right by me.
I originally wanted to have a conversation about the comparison because I wanted to address, like, oh, let's do combat and let's address, like, supplies and let's address these things. If you ever want to play this game, you still should go play it because it's brilliantly written, it's super simple, it's fun, it looks pretty, it's a good time. And if you buy the collector's set, there's literally a bonus adventure in it called Clusterfuck Inn, and it's delightful. I have one of those. It's just a big whodunit in a European tavern. It's fucking awesome. But the game's great. I feel like there is a conversation to be had here that is different than what I was anticipating. Instead about sometimes games just go. And in the vein of games that just go, if a form can be maintained through that whole thing, there really is no reason to maintain any part of a game if people are having fun with the rest of it.
Right. So JK, here's what I'm going to tell you that you done fucked up. If you wanted me to use my cool sword mechanics and my gun mechanics, you shouldn't have told me that I couldn't kill anybody. Because that's what I was operating under. It's like, no killing, got it.
Which
so
is
my
why
soldier
people started
can't use
dying.
any of her moves. So you know what? I'm just gonna fucking bullshit.
I was fully anticipating there being combats, and there was going to be combats. But you both
Mabel's
dumped-
good at a job. She's got one business card. She can't be fucking it up. She's gotta earn some more silver so she can have two. That's a proper establishment to have two business cards instead of just one.
I thought you meant two
Hey, you know you
swords.
fucking made it.
That's fair.
2 swords is too many. Yeah, do you know how hard it is to fucking manage?
I guess it
2
depends on
swords.
how many
Hear me
swords.
out. 2 swords. Business and card.
I am curious though. Plague Doctor, Jester, Swashbuckler. I feel like their utility is a little bit less stabby. I'd be curious to hear. I know Ekaz, you got to use your bag of tricks move several times.
A few times, yes. Even though I had 4 grenades on me this entire time.
Good God, man!
Yeah.
Whoa,
You
you
threw
had
a vomit
grenades?
sack and you had grenades?
What?
D6
That's what I'm saying.
Starting equipment is D6 grenades.
That's okay. That's an indeterminate number of grenades, right?
That's
Because
much.
the way
What?
that those work is that you throw one, then you roll a d6, so you might have like
40
a shit
grenades,
ton.
yeah.
Yeah. It only goes down a die scale if you roll a 1 or a 2.
Okay.
So an indeterminate sack of grenades.
Just bag o
Jeez.
grenade, apparently. It's a good thing we didn't give that bag or light that bag on fire. That's what I'm saying.
Between 2 and infinite.
I'd like to light an indeterminate amount of grenades on fire at once by just lighting the whole sack.
It would have
many
made
grenades?
a right proper dragon. I will say that.
I
But
was-
no, vomit.
I was waiting for the opportunity. I'm like, All right, people are dying. A grenade's gonna have to happen here soon.
Like at the moment,
That was the backup plan if they didn't fall for the ruse of taking the third bag that we never used, was just hold a grenade in the middle of the room.
Oh, if they didn't take the bag, I was just gonna pop it open and use some of
Good
my
luck.
rats. Speaking of,
Yeah, I thought you were just gonna throw them at it.
just throw. Well, I have a move. Okay, so this is a thing. Send rats, which sends 1d6 rats towards a target. They have strength 6 and 2 damage if they hit. But like, in addition to being able to treat people with leeches, sometimes I can just open my bag and shoo rats out of them. A similarly indeterminate number of rats.
I have an indeterminate bag of
wonderful.
fuck off rats. Just like go.
Oh my god, we're playing
Ghosts?
Pokemon.
I got to use 3 of my bags of tricks. The fake sound,
Well,
the
to be fair,
card
my
swap.
swashbuckler role is completely built around dueling. So whenever I am in a combat, my first priority is apparently to find someone to duel. Then I have to roll my dueling dice to see what I'm dueling them for and my attitude towards the duel, which gives me the things I can then do in it.
This is
There's
wonderful.
my whole character sheet is basically around chatting nonsense and shouting in one-on-one combat while doing silly things.
I just can't imagine Sir Walter wanting to duel anyone.
I can't
Well, that's why
imagine
as
be
soon
Sir.
as you were
fair.
like,
I just
as
can't
soon as we
imagine
started
Sir
to have
Walter
the
saying
jerky
silly
eating
things.
competition, I was like, right, this is on, because this is the only time I'm going to be able to use these skills. All my skills are for dueling, and we're not allowed to fight anyone. I'm going to have a jerky eating contest.
Right. Good on you for like, because I had like grappling skills, and then really the soldier is purely combat.
So
Like
Yeah.
I hit real good, and if I crit, I can like, let me just read this. If I crit, I roll a d6. I can pierce their brain, I can disembowel them, maim them, I can stun them, disarm them. Savage, I get to add like extra damage. Like literally
That's pretty lively.
the soldier is pure fucking murder bot, like 100%.
So, okay. Maybe, I don't know. I fully anticipated there being combat regardless. And I'm sad that
You
there
didn't
wasn't.
expect us to make
because
friends with the baddies.
I didn't expect you to make friends with the bandits, or give biscuits and a successful roll to the wolves, or seduce the dragon, or decide to make noises to avoid the servant. Like, I done
Ooh.
put opportunities for fighting in here. Because I wanted things to go fucking awry. Part of the way that I love heists is I want them to be like, here's these firm set of rules, and then nothing goes well by the end of it.
This
And I'm
was
real
a
sad that I
horrible
didn't
plan
get to see all
executed
of
to
those.
perfection.
Oh, absolutely. It was
Couldn't
so
have
good.
gone better.
Like, as much as we didn't get to discuss a bunch of the really neat mechanics of this game, because there are a lot of fun things that can be done with all of the different kind of characters, and one of my favorite things, which honestly I might use for 5e just because it makes it fucking easy to manage resources, is the die scaling. Which, because we did not get to address it, there's a thing in this game as well as the Black Hack where when you buy a number of resources, like your sack of rations, you can buy a D8 sack or a D12 or a D10 sack of rations, and each one has its own individual cost. And then anytime you use rations from that, you would roll that respective dice. If you get a 1 or a 2 on it, that die size gets a size smaller. So in theory, you could continue to wean those like rations out over the course of like several weeks if you're always rolling well. Or, you know, for the same example, your quiver of arrows could be gone in 4 shots, you know, and narratively could have, you know, lost a bunch of them or whatever. Like, but it makes it easier because I don't have to tally anything on a page. Like, it's a little bit more arbitrated, but it is a little bit more fun, and there are lots of things there that I very much enjoy, for like torches especially. I think torches, that's a great way to arbitrate kind of their how long they burn and things. But
I want to chime in real quick.
yeah, go for it.
Vermin, shout out to the armor system. Vermin, do you want to talk a little bit about that? Because I agree.
Yeah, okay. So the way the armor system works in this game is that there are like 4 different levels of armor. And when you're in combat, if you have, say, 3 points in your armor because you're wearing queer ass or something, you can at any time spend one of those dice that is corresponding to your armor and negate all damage that you would have taken. And in a game where you have like between 8 and 12 hit points, that's really good. But as soon as you've spent that die, you have to wait to spend it again until you've taken time to repair your armor. And when you go to repair your armor, you have to roll over the armor value of the thing that you're wearing. So if you have full plate, you have to roll over a 4. If you have cloth armor, you have to roll over a 1. Otherwise, it's broken until somebody more knowledgeable than you can fix it, which is just great. Kind of mean, but really great.
Yeah, no, I love it. I think it's a fun mechanic because it actually makes armor, one, do the thing it's supposed to do and not make you harder to hit, but take that damage for you. Mm-hmm. And two, you do actually have to fix it every once in a while. But it's a way that you don't have to, like, really take the time to manage, like, oh, I'm at 40% durability. Like, it's everything's very easy to track in this game.
Yeah, I think it was the fact that everything was so easy, and like the logistics of the game, the core fundamentals of the game are so easy to keep track of, which is why the game got so wacky so quickly. Because if this was, and I think that that's one of the things with kind of like, Dungeons and Dragons as an example, is there are so many like, well, you can only move this distance at this time frame, or if you do one of these kind of ability checks, then it means you can't do this further down the line, or, well, you can't cast 2 spells, and, all of those kind of like bits and bobs that stop you from getting into like crazy, wacky plans. Or, like there are so many kind of limitations and things for kind of spontaneity almost. Which is why when you find these more simple, stripped down, easy to manage systems, if you go, yeah, we want to kind of get some, opera glasses, binoculars, and we want to get something off the washing line, and I want to, charm this guy and have a jerky eating contest and make a wicker dragon. Like, it's like, sure, like you do you, go for it. It's all easy to track.
I will also say the character creation went by really quick too. We got together Thursday afternoon, like including like the 10 minutes it took to just kind of skim through the rules. We all made our characters in like 20 minutes total.
Yeah,
so, like
top.
It's definitely like a game that like you get the rules, you can just sit down at a table, prepare, and then go.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, Ekaj. I feel like if you've got a group of friends who like aren't, because I think one of the things for like a Dungeons and Dragons is character creation is a lot. This is a good mid step. Right? Like you can just sit down, roll your stats, and it gives you kind of like a test run of what something like that would be. I think we did add an extra layer with bringing in our own bonds to help us feel more like a cohesive unit kind of a deal. And so, but again, I think that's because we've played TTRPGs. We understand that would be easier, and that's not necessarily a part of the game. But I view this very much as like, if you have a group of friends who's not ready for a full like D&D go hard, this is a great like first introduction into that kind of understanding stats, because it is light, but to Al's point, you can get hijinksy if you want it to. Like it's not full improv, there's still some structure, but it's not full rigidity of having like 12 different checks that you can make. So it's a good intro system, I would say, to TTRPG as a whole.
I would actually agree to that. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, I think one of the things that it really succeeds in is there's enough in like this the extra rules that you could totally play this for like an extended campaign. No problem.
Oh yeah,
100%.
definitely.
But it's also something that at a convention you can bust out and be like, yeah, we're gonna do this for an hour because we have nothing else to do.
Because we didn't even get into like reputation mechanics or leveling up or playing to your class's strengths, because for each class there's a different way to level up, right? Like mine is defeating more superior opponents, right? So like but it's going to be different. So the goals and motivations of each classes are going to be different when approaching a new quest line, which I think is really interesting. It's not just based on you killed X number of monsters. It really is specific to each class. Did you accomplish A, B, or C?
Exactly, because although I'm kind of a combat class, being a swashbuckler, the way I gain experience points is by performing stunts.
That's amazing.
The more epic my stunt is, and the more memorable it is by the other players, the more experience points I get. That's how I get my experience.
Well, I would done say fucking a dragon's pretty up there.
That's a pretty good start.
Yeah, mine is entertaining crowds doing tricks and wooing notable folk. So literally just being
You did
fat.
assist in wooing a dragon.
That's
True.
true.
Level up.
I was just the face of the operation.
Yeah, it was very much the face.
You were the stunt part. He was just the communication.
Exactly.
No, So, I mean, if you're going to play them in order, because if we're leaning up into the idea that this is a good transition place into D&D, if you're using this as one of those stepping stones and you really want to take it in pieces, I would recommend this, then play the Black Hack, which they have a second edition of. It is literally, I'm not even kidding. It's like we're going to take D&D 5, we're going to shrink it down. It's the same kind of feeling as far as like high fantasy setting and classes and whatever, but it's built like this is. Even to the way that they arbitrate and simplify all of the spells for 5e. So it would be cool to see, if you want to teach somebody how to play and take it a little bit slower so you can kind of goof around with things and get people used to role-playing in an easier fashion. That's a great moving point. What did y'all feel about, because you all read the book, what did you feel about static hit points? Same forever.
I love that.
Definitely interesting.
I love that. I think one of my biggest complaints with TTRPG systems in general is that harm doesn't feel like harm.
It eventually goes away.
Right. Like it reaches a point where like I feel like I'm just baseline Dungeons and Dragons because that's the most I have experience with, like full transparency. I feel like armor class and hit points and like cure wounds, like there's no real cost, right? Like if at some point like you just cure wounds and like it's up to flavor text and narrative to add the depth of like battles. With this, like you have, so I'm a soldier, I have 12 hit points for the rest of my life. I have 12 hit points, and I love that because that feels more real, and I'm less likely to just fucking guns blaze a situation because like it pushes the like role play of the TTRPG, right? Like I think if I wanted to play a video game where there's zero consequences for being hit, I'd play a fucking video game. And I think that TTRPGs often lean in that direction. This helps ground it in a more real sense of there are consequences. There is a reality to this. You do not want to get hit. And I love that. I think it's phenomenal.
It's funny. Purple Phil just mentioned that hit points were originally meant to simulate ironclad battleships, and it doesn't make as much sense for people. Yeah, originally hit points were how many shots from a 14mm cannon could something take before it died. Which, if you're a person, the answer is 1. You would always have 1 hit point. That's all you get. And like, you had 12 hit points. A blunderbuss taken too close to you, a blunderbuss in this game does 2d6 damage. You could take
that's potentially
one
an insta kill.
Yeah, that's an insta kill.
Yeah,
great.
Especially
that makes sense.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes, that makes sense though, because in like reality, like I think it's always so difficult. Like, hello, my name is Sarah, and I really am here for the role play. It's really hard to role play someone hitting you, critically hitting you with a longsword attack and still surviving. How are you supposed to do that? Like,
it's accurate.
I guess my clavicle is just super fucking ripped as shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this, I would say that mechanic lends itself to authentic role play. And again, like, I'm not going to want to, I always think of like encounters as like boxing matches. You only have so many in you. Right. And like that's taking HP completely out of it. But this system lets you still have the hit point mechanic and like play with it. You know what I mean? Like even when you had me like roll damage for throwing up, I was like, fuck. Like
that could be a quarter of my HP.
That could be a quarter of my HP. But in reality, if you get deathly ill, yeah. And I love that.
But that's what you mean, like, you know, if we were doing a full campaign, if we went right, you know, this is it, this is the new game we're playing, and we're planning on doing like a full, however long, 6-month-long campaign of this, and in the first episode you end up losing a D4 of hit points from your 12 because we threw up for a joke because we were fart-assing around and thought that would be funny. If you lost 4 hit points, if you're like one of the, you know, wizardy classes or something that's a little bit squishier and you lose 4 out of your 8, I've got half my lifespan because I threw up for a joke. Like
Right.
it means that you have, and it means that like from then on, yeah, you would play someone that is way more cautious. And
Correct.
like how many times do we have? Is there someone or a couple of people in the party in any role play game that just goes after a while of discussing the plan? Fuck it, we'll go in and see what happens. We'll just kick the. Are you going to check for traps? Nah, I'll just open the door. Like, what's the worst?
Right.
Oh, I get hit by a spike trap. Who cares? I lose 10 hit points. I'll get over it. Someone kill wounds me, healing words me, whatever. Get me up again. I've been knocked down. Just get me back up. Like, whatever. It'll be fine. I'll be fine by next week. We'll have forgotten. But
Vermin. Vermin, you had something.
I was just gonna say, that's one of the things as somebody who's GM'd games like 5e and like Pathfinder First Edition. It's like there's a point at which either your party is completely unkillable or the wrong monster will just like run everybody down. And I think that not having that sort of arms race between player characters and GMs and PCs makes it a lot easier to clock like, okay, in this situation, I've got 2 guys with blunderbusses. My party has 6 armor total. You can kind of suss out like how that's going to go between them a lot more easily. There's a lot less guesswork involved.
What's also
Yes.
Oh,
go for it. Go for it.
I was just gonna say there's also a lot more arbitration in the GM's perspective towards understanding how long a travel should be. Because if you're playing through a dungeon or a something where, you play through in 5e, you get a long rest, everybody gets their cure wounds back and their greater restorations and stuff, you can't not beat a dungeon. In this game, if you were to play through and you have to take a long rest in the middle of that, doesn't mean your armor's coming back. Doesn't mean any of your resources are coming back. Like, you will eventually die if you don't do something with some kind of speed or bail out. Like...
Yeah.
Right.
That's a whole thing with the OSR as a scene, right? This game is coming out of Black Hack and other things like that. OSR really wants you to think before you get into a fight.
Yeah, and that's important because you should think before you get into a fight.
You should think before you get into a fight. 100%. I feel like as someone who GMs Dungeons and Dragons, it reaches a point where you're just exchanging blows, and it really is who can exchange the most amount of blows per second than the other, and that's going to determine who wins, versus something like this where it's like you can focus on the narrative, right? You can focus on the storytelling aspect of it. You can scare them with a single person with a blunderbuss. You don't need it to be like this fucking army of skeletons, right? So it gives you a depth of storytelling and again, you're not having to focus so much on the mechanics of it. Because in counterbalancing is from like a game running perspective is a nightmare. Yep. And like I think this just is like, nope. Like that's consistently throughout the game. You're not going to have to worry about you'll still have to worry about in counterbalancing, but it won't get like progressive. There's not going to be the arms race of like constantly upping it.
I would like to argue in the sentence in counterbalancing too. I've seen this in this game, or I believe it with this game. I believe it with Electric Bastion Lands and how they do hit points and damage and things. And there's a couple other games that I've played where encounters should not have to be balanced. 5e wants encounters to be balanced. This game encourages the idea that, in fact, most of the time, you're not going to run into a balanced encounter. You're either walking in with enough power that I'm going to shoot these people and they will die, or I have to plan explicitly how I'm going to succeed because I can't just match blows. Because somebody's going to accidentally shoot me through my eye and I will die. Like, doesn't matter how good I am.
That's what the leeches are for.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah.
Well, the thing I find with those sorts of things is the less I have to worry about what's going on with my sheet as a player, the more space I've got in my head to come up with the plans.
There it is.
If I'm sat there going, oh, but if I go in and I have to do this amount of damage to this, and then, that's going to take my hit points down to there, but someone in my team on their turn, fingers crossed, they're going to do this so that I can do that. Like, That's the whole thing. But just looking at this and being like, I've got 12 hit points. If I get shot and dead, like, don't get shot. Okay, now my plan is don't get shot. That was way quicker and easier for me to follow than this whole bizarre arrangement of possibilities on my turns.
But if I cast this cantrip and absorb elements, then I can take X much more damage and I can survive that hit, enabling my next turn.
Yeah, which plays like Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah, exactly.
I was gonna say the main reason, like, I was just gonna save those grenades as like a last ditch thing, is because I could easily kill myself with one of my own grenades.
Also true.
Like, just so simple. I could have been like, all right, we're getting out of here. Oh no, shrapnel to the gut. Bye-bye.
And that's, I think with these, again, like, when I come to a TTRPG, I'm here for the RP aspect. I'm here for the storytelling. And so I always find when a system can get out of its own way and enable people to come to the table, play characters, tell stories, that to me is a sign of a good system. If you're worried about what kind of check you're going to roll for a certain interaction, it's getting in the way. Like, it's not necessary. And I think one thing, I think it was Vermin said when we were on break, is I'm glad that was it Vermin or Ekash? I can't remember. I'm glad there's no wisdom stat. Yeah. So now I can do foolish stuff. But it's kind of like that. The system is getting out of its own way, enabling the player to do shit. Like, because that's what we're here to do. Like, is tell stories and interact with each other, not with the mechanics. And what I appreciate about this is that it gets out of its own way. So we can do that.
And I did like that there's no like skills. It's all just your stats. So like, and it's even really loosey-goosey with that, because like we're keeping watch. It's like, oh, what do we roll? Because there's no like, keep out, search or perception. So
yeah, let me actually address that one specifically, because I was just thinking about it. There are a lot of games, and I'm going to mention Electric Bastion Lands here as well, because Into the Odd, like talking with Chris McDowell and working with him as an author, there's conversations to be had about perception checks or bullshit. And that is to say, there's only one of two options. You either see the thing or you don't see the thing. There's no middle ground for a perception check. And also, if you see the thing, you saw it. Like, that's not a skill-based thing. That's if I'm paying attention to go look for the thing, do I see the thing? Now, that is not to say that I don't think player stealth checks make sense, because I think how good you guys sneak in relation to how I interact is different. But you guys, if I'm paying attention and are specific enough that stat is not in the way, and I say, I'm looking for this thing, you'll be like, yeah, it's over there. Or they're invisible, and you say no. But in that regard, there is no rule in this book for making perception checks for watches at night. And I think I got into my own head 5e-wise to say, oh, there has to be a thing for that, let's roll this. But really, there should not have needed to be. I should have just been able to, y'all went to sleep, you alternated watches. At this point in the night, this thing happened, how are you dealing with it? There's no reason to throw all of those extra checks in there. Who the fuck cares? Let's just run into the story.
Right.
And that's always my push is and I think the way you approach, because I ultimately I think TTRPGs are about telling stories. This is collaborative storytelling. Mm-hmm. We have entered into an agreement to sit down with our characters and tell a narrative. And rather than being like, well, is that a persuasion or is that a deception? Like, we can get down to the nitty-gritties and we can argue semantics and mechanics all night long if we want. But like, if that's not elevating and enabling the story, what's the point? And I do think you made a great point of like, you get in your own head, like, why are we measuring things that don't matter?
Yep.
Why are we measuring things that don't matter?
Which is also why I appreciate you being like, which side of the house is the office on? And I'm like, oh yeah, I don't need to tell all of this. Like, why am I trying to nitpick it down to a dungeon crawl like 5e does? Because it's unnecessary here. Like, exactly the same point. And I think that's a great mindset to have.
Yeah. I think that's another thing is, sorry.
I was just going to say, the D&D is a lot of people's first role-playing game, and it sets a lot of expectations about what tabletop role-playing games are, but like, the genre is so wide at this point that you have games like Dialect that are resemble nothing. There's no checks, there's no nothing. It's just scenes and talking about a language that grows and dies. We bring a lot of assumptions from our first role-playing game into whatever we play next. And it can be really hard to break those habits when they get ingrained over campaigns that last,
Years?
2, 3, 5 years.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's what I was saying, is it like for even just like the rolling, it's the whole, we want to roll low under our score. It's like completely different. Like we rolled ones and that was a critical success. And it's just one of those things like, ooh, this doesn't feel right. This feels like I'm doing it wrong. But, sometimes you just kind of have to unlearn those things to just say, fuck it. Let's just keep doing this. Let's move forward. Let's have fun. Let's just say, screw the rules. We got funny. So.
Yeah. And I think coming into a game, so like Vermin said, the system that you last played, and that's why I think like I'm so grateful to have been a part of this community. And I think what Top Shelf is doing is such a cool idea, is because it's exposing you to different systems and reshaping the way that you think about role playing. Because one of the shows that I've been a part of on another channel, Smash Cut, full improv. There's no dice rolling. There's no nothing. If you establish it, it's true, and you just roll with it. And what I've loved about that is I feel like when I come to a more structured system like Dungeons and Dragons, or even to an extent this, is I'll say what I want to do rather than what mechanic I want to use. And that just completely shifts the way the game works. I'm not telling, JK, I would like to roll dexterity. I'm saying, I want to see how quickly I can put this vomit into a bag. And that's just more interesting. Let's be honest. It's more interesting. It empowers me more as a player to write the kind of story that we've again all collectively been let's tell a story, and we're focused on narrative, plot, development, rather than fucking, I rolled a 4 on my vomit in the bag check, so I guess I'm not putting any vomit in this bag.
Yeah. I mean, this is this reels back to the thing that me and Jacob were talking about last time. He decided it would be a good idea to have me on his show for some reason.
Which
when
was
we were
Mecha
playing
Dudes?
giant robots in
Yep.
Barovia. And I was saying, because I'm still fairly new to tabletop role-playing games in general. I've been playing, and doing stuff for, 6 months, a year, something like that, somewhere in between. And I can't, like, the way that my brain works is obviously very sporadic and impulsive. And getting around rules and tables and lots of maths and all of this going on is very confusing at the best of times when I'm trying to, the worst thing for me is when something kind of stifles, when it's got momentum and then you have that sort of, hang on, I need to just, I can't remember if it's a D6 or a D8, or hang on, is it 2, or do I have to be within 15 or 20? Those moments where and then the story just goes, ugh. And comedy is such a fast-paced thing, which is why that's usually my go-to for it's like a measuring stick with stuff. It's funny in my long form, any longer form campaigns and stuff, my characters are quite serious and a lot more kind of okay, right, we've got to do the jobs because it's important. Whereas in one-shots and little things with a bit more freedom, I tend to get a little bit more wacky and silly because the story can just zip along and you're not constantly checking things. You can just say whatever comes out, whatever's off the top of your head. So for me to be in a system that is a lot more freeing, that is a lot more improv based, that you go, and I do tend to, as you say, describe a scene. Okay, right, this is what I'm thinking. This is what we want to do. What do you as a games master need for me to get there? What are the challenges that are in my way, and what do I need to overcome? Because that alone, it just, to be fair, the beginning of our plan, I want to build a wicker dragon. That could have been the rest of the episode. The whole episode.
You have to resource the wicker. You're going to have to sleight of hand to see if you can weave it.
Yeah, there could have been a good half hour, 40 minutes of role play just trying to make this thing. If it was serialized, if we had enough time, that would have been a ridiculous scheme of events that we could have done. Or you could have just been roll your make a dragon check. or you can just be fuck it, we need to end, carry on. There are so many ways to kind of approach it.
I mean,
but just give it that bit of freedom to just be ridiculous.
It's true, and it's the yes and in me from being in an improv group that once I realized that we get to this place in the episode and you're And I jump into the wicker dragon, and I know you said it ironically, but at that point I'm like, all right, so he fucks off in his wicker dragon, and you guys are dressed like ghosts. Like,
well, I mean,
you know.
we know each other well enough to be like, I will put things out there with no expectation with people to run with what I said. Like when I first said about dragons, because I was like, my character's going to be like a ridiculous, unrealistic Americanization of 17th century Britain. I'm going to do the silly, kind of crazy American doing a Brit voice. Like, it's all going to be silly. And I'll be like, oh, we're in Britain. Obviously, there's going to be a dragon. We're in England, for Christ's sakes. Come on. Like, just a bit of a joke. And then we'll just push that joke until it either A, becomes unfunny, or B, becomes an integral part of the plot.
Yeah. We manifested 2 dragons in this game.
Exactly.
That
It went from
twice.
me doing a dumb joke about dragons, which I expected to drop immediately, to being the big end boss.
But this is what I love about these systems, right? Is you give a little bit more power back to the players.
100%.
I think with a lot of times when you have mechanic systems that like, no, it all has to come with anything. If something has to come from one source, it's not going to be as interesting, fun, dynamic as if it came from all sources. Like
Exactly.
we collectively have better ideas than like Sarah, the player, has an idea, or JK, the game master. Like, we as a team will come up with a better, more interesting story. And one of the things Al kept hitting on is like the comedy of it. But I also think that it, like, if you're playing this in a long-term campaign, that's going to make your like lows hit harder. Like, it's going to make the emotional moments and like the real challenges and costs and struggle of your story hit harder, right? Because it's like you the player are able to have more investment. It's not because you like of a check, it's because of a thing that you said you set out to do, not necessarily like a dice roll. And because of that, you are more invested, right? And I like that a lot, because it's like you get player buy into narrative versus just, well, it's up to the fucking dice, I guess. Like, it's a different approach to that storytelling, character development side of things. Verbin, it looks like you have a thought.
Yeah,
I want to hear it.
I do. Which is, are any of the 4 of you familiar with Firebrands specifically?
Firebrands. As a
Firebrands, a game by Vincent and Maggie Baker. God, I hope it's Maggie Baker. I'm going to be embarrassed if it's not. So the 2 of them put together. So Vincent Baker is actually, both of them are Apocalypse World. Vincent Baker did Dogs in the Vineyard, bunch of other games. Firebrands is, to me, it always feels like a one-shot game, but you could play it over multiple sessions very easily. And it is a game built out of mini games, none of which the most randomness included in them is just like coin flips. And in that way of like saying like, hey, instead of being invested in the mechanics and in the die rolls, you're invested in the moment-to-moment choices that you're making. This game gives a lot of scaffolding where you're choosing, okay, I want to play the game where we have a big ball and everybody is dancing with each other, or I want to call this person out in a duel in our mechs, because it's a mecha game. I want to steal time away with this person and have like a romantic encounter with them. It makes all of your choices feel a lot bigger, because there's not that sense of like, oh, I biffed a couple of rolls, everything went south, and now my character's dead. It's like, yeah, I did choose to meet you at a ball, fall in love with you, like make love inside of our robots, and then die in a duel that we had to fight each other in, because that felt like the right thing to do there. Like, having that control over your character, like you're saying, gives you so much investment in what happens to them.
Absolutely.
And it makes the story more interesting, right? It's not about a critical fail. It's about the narrative that built from, like, the mechanics are the vessel of the narrative, but oftentimes our dumb human brains and pattern recognition get in the way of that. So when you can write a system that's like, fuck that, like, just say you have a goddamn wicker dragon and you're going to dress up like the ghost from the Charles Dickens novel and you're going to storm this mansion with your 3 bags of barf documents and leeches. Like, hell yeah.
So
I think the
Yes.
thing that we're all saying is like what we wanted from the game was fluidity and just the ability to flow. And you know, we channeled that through comedy. And the opposite of comedy, the Greek mask is tragedy, and everything between it is drama. And if that can flow, like I could see this game so easily, you doing a really serious heist planning, and it would run just as smoothly and just as well. If you wanted to do it with combat, if you wanted to do this as a serious, play it absolutely straight, 17th century England, you know, we're doing this political intrigue, the whole 9 yards. You know, you don't have to be throwing up in a forest because you ate some bad jerky kind of jokes. You know, you're like, if you did this completely straight, it would be a great story because the game gives you that.
And there's the depth there, right? Like, had we gone a more straight edge direction and your soldier is like puking because they ate bad rations and is losing HP because like, and is unable to perform their function, like that becomes like that itself would have given, like, if we had gone serious, a much darker, more intense, serious tone.
Yeah,
and I like that.
Scary at that point because if you
it
fuck up
scary.
and somebody gets shot, you're done.
Yes.
Like,
consequences.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna parentheses this for just a sec. Proper. I literally, I've just purchased Dialect. They had a limited edition, and I could not. So I have the copy of Dialect on its way. Anyway, so I'll hit you up if I put it on the schedule. But no, like that's the reason. That is 100% this reasoning. This game, this show exists. I want to change that perception because I have a lot of friends who are still D&D purists, and I just discovered the other day. I was having a conversation with one of them about, because they're really not interested in my hobby. They play D&D religiously, and they are not interested in tabletop stuff outside of D&D. And I sat and I tried to talk to them about like, but why? Because the reason you enjoy these games is to dig into the lore and get really deep into the storytelling and things. And you don't have to worry about all the stuff that's getting in that way if you just try something else. And they're like, well, we can change it. I can just adjust the rules in D&D. And I'm like, well, you can, but it's still not... Like, why not?
You might as well not play it.
Right.
Yeah.
Why
and
not
you're
play
not playing
something
Dungeons and Dragons.
Exactly. Like, why not play something that is comfortable from the start so that you can free yourself up to play something that works with you being so into storytelling? And, like, at this point, I have 84 or so different tabletops on my shelf. For, like, physical copies. And I know I will never play them. I know I will never play all of those. But the purpose that I had of it, and I was talking to the author of Overarms this week about it, is my top shelf has become Blockbuster. Like, this whole thing is for people of any skill level or anybody who wants to tell a story who does not have the method to do so, who D&D is too daunting for, even though that's the most present experience that most have. It's like, all right, what genre are you interested in? What kind of thing are you interested in? How into it do you want to get? Let's just pull one of these off that matches your genre, matches the kind of intensity you want to bring to it, and let's play that, because now the framework is there for you to play with the story elements that you want to, and you don't have to worry about the rest of the shit. Like, these kind of games, as much as we didn't really get into the mechanics of this, was exactly the point that I try to get across with this show, is it's like most of these games are designed to give everybody at the table power to enjoy the table. And I keep getting told when I run games as a DM for 5e, people are like, well, the same friend who gets after me for liking tabletops and things, they'll say things along the lines of like, you get too into the DM mindset and like you're letting the mechanics get in the way. And I'm like, no, the game is letting the mechanics getting in the way. If we're playing this game, I'm going to follow these rules, at least mostly. Like, play something else. Right. This is my point. Like,
there's so many tables who are playing D&D, but not like playing D&D.
They're not playing Dungeons and Dragons.
When
the GM
Ship of Theseus.
I'm a full cop
your
to
game.
that. I feel like my Bard's Refrain game is just Sarah's interpretation of Dungeons and Dragons because I don't want to fuck with travel rules and keeping track of resources and whatever. I've gone through and said, this is the shit I don't give a fuck about. This is the parts that I do. I could find a system that's much more collaborative to that play, 110%. But Dungeons and Dragons is sort of like the
quintessential
common language
yeah.
of TTRPG is like a good landing point. And like I think to your point, like I want to, because we're talking a lot about narrative. I want to stop and like talk mechanics.
Yeah.
If you're a min-maxer and you really like getting into the stats and the nitty-gritties of like all of these things and power building your characters and all that, this system still has that for you. It still has like, because that's the thing is I'm not that person. But if we're weighing this on a spectrum of like what people get out of TTRPGs, if you're there to power level your character, this still has that, which I think is great. But one of the things you said, JK, was you were talking about your friend talking to you. And I always think when I'm jamming a game, when I write things, I hope that their video game brain kicks in to enable their D&D brain. Like, you know, like I hope that they recognize this NPC so my D&D mechanics work out so I can accomplish this narrative purpose rather than just picking a system that serves my narrative purpose. And I think this is closer to that.
So I love it. I want to say two notes real fast. For anybody who's listening, I don't hate D&D. I like D&D for a lot of reasons. And if you're playing a really long
D&D.
campaign, because I've played D&D for 2.5 years, single campaign. I really, really enjoy D&D for a lot of reasons. If you're playing a long campaign, it works really well. The kind of advancements and things you can do a lot of good stuff with. With that same thing in mind, I just bought the Dragon Age D&D. I just bought the Dragon Age tabletop RPG. I love Dragon Age as a concept, built off of a role-playing like video game. Still simpler than D&D and still easier to manage. Like, there is more stuff out there if you want to get the same vibe that you can get so much easier. But you just got to look for it. And that's why the top shelf exists. I want to help you not have to look for it as much, because this is something that I never got to see either. You know, and I want people to be able to share that. And these fantastic folks here get to help me do that in the best. Oh no, I've spilled my coffee liquor again. This stuff is cursed. I have spilled it 3 goddamn times today.
To be fair, the first one was like the solid, I don't know how long we spent, 40 minutes of giggling.
Yeah, well, yeah, that was valid. This one I was trying to balance it on a dice tower. Maybe that one was my bad. Anyway.
Selfishly, though, it's the giggling at the table. It's the coming together. Because, full disclosure, I've played games with Al. I've played games with Ekaj. I had never played a game with Furman. But I feel like we had more flexibility as human beings to, like, interact with each other directly instead of through mechanics. And so we were able to, like, get to a more common place of storytelling, which I appreciate a lot more, right? Like, we were able to sit down at a table not knowing each other and tell the story, and I wasn't worried about, well, which one of us has the better insight?
Right.
Like, you know, that's the person that should do the thing.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's why I like also, because it's more like no one ever like remembers like, hey, remember that game that we played and the DC was 18 and I rolled a 19? Ha! Great. No, but you tell the story about, remember when like we just manifested a wicker dragon, we threw flaming vomit on the peasants? That's what you remember. That's what the whole point of the game is. You want those memories. You don't do the math. No one reflects back on the math that happened. Like that was some awesome math that happened. No, it's the you know, fuck it, the dragon flew off with our fake dragon because that's just how it happened. Those are the memories, and that's what I honestly love about this. No, it's really any game, because that's the whole point. It should be any game. Whatever, it doesn't matter what vessel you're traveling, it's the journey that you're taking. It doesn't matter how you get there, it's just a matter that you take that journey. And that's kind of what D&D is. That's what this game is. That's what Pathfinder is. It's, are you going by boat, train, whatever? These are the basic mechanics that get you there. But the journey you take, that's the thing that makes the game.
Yeah. Yeah, and Purple gave me provided an interesting commentary into the chat too. It's like, if you read my bio on TPK Roleplay stuff, I started out as a D&D purist to such a degree, and I've talked about it in interviews and stuff, that I was convinced that I could hack anything into D&D rules to make anything make sense, and I could just play with those, and I didn't have to learn another system. Now I realize, as I started exploring it myself and becoming the obsessive bastard that I am now with as many games as I have, that why would you put in the fucking effort? Who gives a shit? Like, it's so much work to do that when you could just find a space RPG that's far easier to manage, that you can giggle at right out the gate. You don't have to do the work to back it up. It inherently works better because the mechanics are designed for it. Like, everybody starts at a place, which is usually D&D, but there is so much more to go from there. You want to play an anime game? You play Overarms. You want to play real-world fantasy? Play 17th Century Minimalist. You want to play a weird abstract game where you're not even a person because you have that kind of relationship with yourself? Play My Body as a Cage or Necronautilus. Like, there's stuff that will address everything. You just have to find it. And then tell those stories with your friends and love that experience that you get to tell with your friends. And yeah, I don't know. I'm real passionate about it because there's lots of stuff that I want people to experience because there are better things for you. And D&D won't teach you that.
I think Dungeons and Dragons will give you a taste of that.
Yes, absolutely.
I think it will enable you to like see, it'll kind of crack that door open for you. But ultimately you're going to be hacking it to make it literally hacking the game to get the experience that you want out of it. And again, I run a monthly Dungeons and Dragons campaign here on TPK Roleplay. Like, I get it.
I feel it. I'm also going to shit on it, but again, I'm 2.5 years into D&D, so like I'll still play it. It's a great game, but
I've played since 3rd edition.
Very nice, yeah.
I mean, over a decade of D&D.
My real name's literally a D&D character, so like it happens.
The thing that D&D does really well is it gives you everything.
Yeah.
And then you play your first game of D&D and you go, man, I really love this part of the game. And then you'll go, cool, let's do our next D&D game, but really focus on this and ignore all of that other shit that we didn't like.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I think a lot of people do, is you play your first game straight, book rules, and then after that you go, man, doesn't it suck that there's no peril? Okay, we need to put in injury tables. We need to put in critical injuries and critical successes and fails because I like the drama. But do you know what I don't like? I don't like that bit where I had to go around and check my pouch to make sure I had the correct material components for that cantrip I wanted to cast. Man, yeah, trying to find a pearl worth 300 gold pieces. I mean, that took up four weeks of our adventure to find that. Okay, probably not going to track that too much. Trying to track my ammunition, man. But then some people are like, no, I'm here for tracking ammunition and making sure I have that sprig of holly when I needed it. I really want that. Give me more tracking in my inventory. It's like, go and play an inventory tracking game. Go and play a story with less rules. Like, D&D is fantastic for just going, here's all the rules for everything. There you go. Enjoy those and suss out what you like and what you don't like.
Which is why most people start there. It's a good conversation.
Yeah,
Actually, that's a great point.
It's really good for that.
It has... in my quest to kind of passively play the fence of I like D&D, but you all should play other shit. The last 2 interviews that I've done this week, both with the guy who was who wrote Iron and Lies, Bats, as well as the writer for Overarms, I brought up this conversation that D&D lacks a voice. D&D has no voice because it asks you to put it in it. It gives you framework and it gives you history and it gives you like this general high fantasy setting that has all of this stuff, but it doesn't have the same kind of flavor that like Necronautilus would have or even 17th Century Minimalist would have. Mind you, this one lacks less voice because it is a little bit more generic as far as a fantasy setting, but
sure. But I think it adds a reality. Like, I think
Yes.
a lot of TTRPGs miss out, or well, I should say a lot of I would say Dungeons and Dragons specifically misses out on a cost, right? Like, you have 12 hit points. That's it. I'm looking at my fucking Water Genasi Order of the Scribes wizard that I've like built in a certain way who has 72 hit points.
Mm-hmm.
That's a completely different situation. Like, in this game, Mabel, for better or worse, like, she's a soldier. That's her occupation. She has 12 forever. That's going to make a different impact than like my wizard, who every time I level up is going to get more hit points. Like, it's good. Just, it's going to be different. The cost, the narrative is going to hit different. And if, again, I feel like it's that video game brain where there's not the consequences are temporary or fleeting or fixable, right?
Yep.
Versus like characters, when you make a choice and there's a consequence for it, you live with that consequence forever. Not because you narratively decide to, but because the mechanics support that cost.
That's the point. That's the perfect point. The series premiere of the Top Shelf, which was Heart, reinforces that wholeheartedly. It is designed to build a game in which you have to deal with your consequences forever. And for somebody who wants to play a game in which that is something that is important to you for your character's growth, you play those kind of things. If you want to play some, like, I don't know, even like Corvid Court with Spencer Campbell, like, you want to play a good heist game because heists are important to you, buy a game in which the stats in which you have to roll for make more sense for heist style roles. Like, people build games, and a lot of the people that I play, you know, start off with if you're playing heist games too, like Seasons and Score are also both real good by Spencer Campbell. But play games that are niche to your specific interest, and you'll have an easier time with it because the mechanics support the narrative. And Sarah, that's perfect. That's exactly the concept I wanted, because D&D doesn't do that. The voice it lacks is because there is a disconnect between the mechanics and the narrative, because the mechanics are general as fuck. They just have everything in there, so you can do what you want with them. And as you play more D&D, hopefully you come to this realization that, like, oh, I don't need these because I don't play with these in my game, or I don't need these in my game. And then if
to be fair, one of the strengths of Dungeons and Dragons is because that you can take what you want. You can sit at a different table with a different GM and get a completely different experience based on what they're taking. If you
Also
sit with if you're sitting at my table, you best believe you're going to get some fucking hijinks. I'm not going to make you roll for some bullshit because I don't care. Like, I'm not going to have you track travel or resources or whatever because I don't give a fuck. But there's going to be other GMs who are like, no, you're living what kind of lifestyle are you living? How many rations did you prepare for? Do you have your spell components? And that's going to be completely different flavor within the same system. And I do think there's something incredibly magical about that, is that it does open up for interpretation. And I think this system in particular has that same kind of like, you could say, fuck it. Yeah, Al, go ahead and build your wicker dragon. Or you could enforce the mechanics and be like, that doesn't make any, like, it just, I love, give players and GMs room to be creative with the system itself, but reward them for being creative with the system.
I've always kind of likened D&D, like the basics of D&D, the rules of D&D, everything that you get, like you buy your 3 books. I always liken it to like buying a Lego set. You can buy the Lego set, you see on the box what it could be, you have the instructions, and you can build it to be exactly that. It's like, oh, look, I've built a monster truck. That's cool. But then you can like look at it and like, well, I've built that. That was fun. I bet I could make a robot, though. So you take it apart, you throw out the pieces you don't need. Maybe you'll grab some pieces that you get from a different set, and you build whatever you want. That's kind of what I always take from D&D. Is it gives you the possibilities, and it's all there. But you could piecemeal it together and take apart and leave out. I mean, eventually, like, you could put 1,000 monkeys playing D&D over 1,000 years, and eventually, yeah, they're going to come up with 17th century. They're going to come up with this, but we don't have to. Luckily, that already exists, and we can go, grab that off the shelf and play it right now.
That's a beautiful explanation too, because yeah, you can technically do anything with as vast and varietal that D&D is. but you don't need to. And maybe that's the point better here is it's like take that effort out of your day and go find a story that you want to tell with your friends and take that off the shelf and just feel good knowing you can just play it. You don't have to put in the work. You can just enjoy the experience with folks. I do want to, real quick, because Chrissy mentioned it, there are a number of different places that you can find good tabletop RPGs. And I will put them all in the YouTube version of this episode if you want to go check them there. I'll also drop them in the TPK Discord after this conversation. But Floating Chair is fantastic. Exalted Funeral's great. Spear Witch is great. Thorny Games is where you get Cryptolinguist, stuff like Dialect and Xenolanguage and Sign. Free League Publishing is one of my absolute favorites. They are I believe a Swedish group, but they do things like Coriolis or our Destroyer of Worlds Alien RPG or Morkborg, Symbaroum, Tales from the Loop, which Chrissy has run. Like, literally hundreds of games out there. You want to check itch.io, I could go on for days because there are thousands there of independent folks who just like building games.
The top 100 on itch.io's TTRPG page is like a constantly rotating buffet of excellent games.
100%. Like, and at the end of the episode, when we close everything out, I'll probably pitch my own stuff. And Vermin, absolutely pitch your own stuff. Like, people should know these games exist, but just explore. You could Google, like, I want an anime game. Well, Google, I want an anime tabletop RPG. TTRPG is how you find them. I want an anime TTRPG. You'll find 7 or 8 of them right off the bat, just like first Google search result. It's
and
just
when we're able to go back into the world, hit up your local game shop. You're going to find tons
100%.
of things on the shelves.
100%. Some of which are really old that you will not be in print anymore, which are lots of fun to check through.
Yeah. Take a risk. Check out the bargain bin. Grab something from there and just give it a shot.
Yep. We do. I recently watched a game jam go up by, I think it was Keegan, EXE, that was a business card tabletop RPG. That the whole goal of the thing was to build a business card, a tabletop RPG you could fit on a business card just to keep in your wallet. And there were a whole bunch of games that came out of that. Like, they're changing all the time, and you just got to keep an eye out for them. So, honestly, I think, like, we're going to start going in circles at this point, but I think I'm in a comfortable place to wrap because I feel good about kind of the message that we were all kind of getting across came together. Thank you guys so much. And, like, audience, everybody who always plays in my episodes, I am so passionate about this particular thing, and you all got me in a tangent of, like, my personal ethos of why the top shelf is important. But we'll go ahead and go around the table. We'll get some outros. Plug anything you want this time, whether it's systems you like, games you like, your own stuff, where we can find you, what you play, and just go for it. We'll start up in the same corner with Sir Walter, Al the Biffer, and we'll go from there.
Why not? Cheers, folks. Thanks for putting up with me again. Don't know why you insist on. Yeah, there's another drink. I don't know why you insist on doing it, but bless you all. You're good people. But yeah, I guess I played Sir Walter for some reason. They let me do that, and it was jolly good fun. So here's to more silly adventures and whatnot. I'm back on TPK I think the next one is the 16th. Yes, I'm being given the nod. Good, I remembered things. The problem is, I put the ad out for it early. I put it on the 17th because it's 2 a.m. for me, so it's in my diary on the 7th. So it's a whole nightmare, but there you go. That's doing things with wacky land time. But there you go. So yes, the 16th for you lot. I'm in the Scooby-Doo one-shot, which is not D&D, so you'll enjoy that. It's good times. And then back on the 18th for our 55 Below, which is also not D&D.
Yeah.
And then the next day on the 19th for the Destroyer of Worlds, our Aliens campaign with Meg, who is also not D&D. So all the not D&D you could possibly want, day after day after day. You're going to be sick of me. And at some point I might even get a haircut as well. Who knows? It's all the fun to have. So yeah, thanks folks. Well, if you can't wait for all that, or you're missing me in between, or you fancy a little bit more after, you can find me here on Twitch at twitch.tv/aldebiffa. But I will give you my cheeky recommendations for more games that aren't D&D. If ever you're bored, look up a game called Dusk City Outlaws. Very, very fun, like different clans in a mega city. You've got, you know, your mummers, you've got your gravediggers, you've got your actor, like, you know, counterfeit types, all get together for a heist of epic proportions. Bring all the different gangs together, everyone's got a role to play, and then it's the build-up to the heist is most of the game. The actual heist, that's in there as well, but the build-up, all the planning and strategy and wacky ideas, it's good fun if you like getting creative and silly. I'm a big, big fan of it. So check that out if now else. But that is all from me, and I shall pass on to the wonderful Sarah.
Hi, I'm Osarix Franco. You can find me on Twitch and Twitter at Osarix Franco. As for like TTRPG stuff, you can find me here on TPK Roleplay Tuesday in the Harpers. You can find me over at Nat20, another TTRPG community. Sunday in Morningstar and Company, and Beyond the Tides, all 3 of Dungeons and Dragons campaigns. You can also find me in 2 weeks from today. We did Dark Echoes earlier today, which is a Curse of Strahd campaign. But in 2 weeks, you can find me again in Curse of Strahd. But I GM my own campaign, The Bard's Refrain. Each session is inspired by the lyrics of a song and built into a larger narrative, which is a lot of fun. And why did I do this to myself? Oh God, oh God. But on another note, the 20, I've got to look at my calendar right now. The 25th, I will be running a one-shot, The Swift and Vicious, a Fast and Furious one-shot. We will be using Honey Heist rules that I've combined with Fate rules for maximum hijinks. So come check that out. I'm really excited. You can also find me here next Saturday for Murdering Coffee, a GM talk show where we are going to do a deep dive on the Dungeon Master Guide, talking about weird mechanics. What are your thoughts about passive perception? Do you want to talk about it? Because I super do. So if you have controversial ideas, thoughts around D&D rules, let's frickin' talk about it.
Feels like this is the place to find those kind of questions.
Right. So other than that, you can catch me everywhere. Purple Azuth might be fine. We don't know. But I'm going to pass it on over to Ekash.
Hey, folks. Ekash the Orc here. You can find me on Twitter at Ekash the Orc, where I'm typically posting random memes that I find or make myself. Otherwise, coming up with TPK, as Al said, on the 16th, we will be in Rut Row, a Monster of the Week inspired Scooby-Doo one-shot, where I think it's safe to say, we can say now who we are, because we made the announcement, where I will be playing like Shaggy, and we'll just be seeing what Mr. Ian can get up to with that. Then on Sunday, I will be continuing on, and I think finally finishing what was originally supposed to be a one-shot with 55 Below and 6 Feet from Hell, where I will be playing Maxim Soyuznik, the Russian wilderness expert and security expert. And we'll hopefully be getting wrapped up also with Al. So, super excited for that. I know. I can see you talked about being too much of you, Al. There's no such thing as too much of you. We're
going to take down spooky monsters one day and Nazis the next.
And all in one weekend. I am stoked. But yeah, that's otherwise, Twitter's the only other place you can find me for now. But should that change, I'll make sure to let you all know. And with that, I'll go ahead and pass it on over to the legendary Vermin.
Hello, I am the Legendary Vermin. You can find me on Twitter at Legendary Vermin. You can find me making lots of little games on itch.io, so legendary-vermin.itch.io. I don't have anything particularly new coming up from me, so I will take this moment to pitch to other RPG developers that I really admire and really love their games. First, if you like games about intimacy and kissing, you should check out Adira Slattery, who has made a bunch of really cool and interesting games dealing with like emotional closeness, physical closeness, sexual relationships and stuff like that. Really, really cool. And I also want to shout out Maria Maizan, who makes just absolutely like beautiful poetry-like games, and is doing is an amazing layout artist on top of that, doing some layout for a game that I have coming out later this summer called Alley Oop. So yeah, that's who I want to shout out.
Very, very cool. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. It's funny. I've actually been trying to, if you're watching this, but I've been trying to get in contact with Adira Slattery about a project that I'm working on for the Top Shelf. Which is going to be super fun. I'm very excited for that. Anyway, so that's coming up later, way down the road. But you can find me. I am Mads, your host. You can find me on Twitch. Sadly, well, no, I'm not ashamed. You can find me on TikTok. You can find me on Instagram under a different name. You can find me on Twitch. You can find me in the TPK Discord, all JK Madigan. And then jkmadigan.itch.io. You can find my current only game. I'm working on another one if I ever actually get the thing finished, because I'm just my brain will get the inspiration to sit down and write the whole thing in like 3 hours once I actually get that to kick in. But it's in the progress. But upcoming
Dragons.
What?
More Wicker Dragons.
It's going to be only Wicker Dragons. I'm building it specifically for you. It was going to be a birthday gift, but now you've spoiled
That's actually
it.
the website, Only Wicker Dragons.
Ooh!
I'm gonna buy that now.
Don't tell me that, because I kind of want to turn that into a distributing site now. It very much sounds on brand with like floating chair and spear witch and stuff. Only Wicker Dragons.
See, inspiration's hitting.
But not in 2 weeks. Next week, because I have week to week this month. Next week, I'm playing on the Top Shelf. We're playing Slayers with the Dust expansion to it by Spencer Campbell. Spencer Campbell is playing with us for that one, so I'll have the author online playing with. We're going for a hat trick of his games, but also I'm playing his game specifically because this is going to be the sequel and finale to my Blackchapel episode that I ran in 5th edition last year.
The time has finally come.
The time has finally come, and I'm using a different system so that we can compare the two, since Slayers has been called a D&D killer. So we're going to see how true that is and run them right against each other. After that, you said you didn't have anything going on, but on May 1st, episode 11 comes out. We are playing The Company, and Legendary Vermin's going to be a part of that. And it is going to be something new for the Top Shelf. I think it's within time frame to announce that. The one thing I have yet to talk about in this game is trying to address longer campaigns with an independent game. So we are going to play this one as a 3-parter over the next 3 months as a longer standing campaign running The Company in the Resident Evil canon. So it's going to be all corporate horror. It's going to be fucking awesome, and I'm super excited for it. It's one of my favorite fictional worlds to play in, and I found a gap where conversation has not been had in the Resident Evil canon that I'm going to play around with and tinker with. So we're going to get into that in May, May 15th. The only thing that I have coming up, I mean, I've got everything planned out till July, but I'm not going to go over that. Middle of May, the other new big thing keep an eye out for is we are playing Necropunk, which is coming out on Kickstarter around that time. So we're helping out another Kickstarter promotion for some cool stuff. It is what it sounds like, and it's going to be rad. It's a lot of necromancy and a lot of just wild shit, and I'm super excited to see what becomes of that. But keep an eye out. I've also got 2 interviews coming up that are going to be posted to YouTube. Those are all direct to YouTube. I've got another couple scheduled, so if you want to talk with developers or hear me talk with developers, check those out. But this has been the Top Shelf. You all are wonderful. Vermin, Ekash, I will definitely have to have you on more because you were both spectacular.
Yes.
You two, as always, are spectacular, and I will always continue to try to cast you folks because
Invite me to more
well.
political intrigue campaigns, please. Consider this my official resume.
Is that what you want dibs for, or political intrigue campaigns?
Oh yeah. Oh
Okay.
yeah. 100%. I need to know. We got to talk about countesses and documents and overthrowing regimes. That's what I'm about. I will 100% bring a very serious character.
I'm scared with how that was intonated, but I will still do so because I like having you on stream. I love y'all. Thanks so much, everybody, for watching. If you want to have any questions, hang out with me in Discord. I will see y'all later, and we are out for the night. Take care.
Bye-bye.